Stand up, New York Giant fans. What's going on, Baddog?
What is going on, Entertainer? First things first, Mr. Entertainer Senior. I shaved like 10 minutes before the stream, so I just want to let your dad know I shaved. I know he likes that. He likes to remind me to shave, so we took care of it. So we got that out of the way.
Yeah, my dad's always busting your balls to get to shave your face.
I mean, you guys are Italian. You get the struggle. You get it.
Oh, for sure. I get the 5 o'clock shadow after 5 minutes after I shave.
It's happened.
Juice World, thank you very much. Says bring on Neo. You follow me on Instagram, you get Neo. Here we don't get Neo. But I'm gonna say hello to everybody in the chat. Sports expert in the chat. Fan with the mic. Green E. Eric in the chat. Brendan in the chat. JXM in the chat. Big Vito in the chat. Joshy in the chat. G in the chat. Levance in the chat. Bucks, so my man, Authentic. It was a pleasure meeting you, man. Glad to hear that you got back in DC, man. I appreciate everybody that showed up at the Fan Fest. I had an absolute blast. Anybody that is in here that was there that I got to meet, you guys blew me away. Baddog, unfortunately, I know you couldn't make it. I'm looking forward to going to the Eagle game with you. But when I tell you, man, the world has changed in 2 years since the last time we went to a Giant game. It was crazy, man. I think I said I couldn't believe people asked me to get my autograph. I think I signed 10 autographs. I must have took like 100 pictures. It was crazy. It was awesome though. Just to be able to get to talk to all the Giant fans, get back in the stadium, and get to see our team play, man. It was a great experience, and really looking forward to going back and getting to do something similar again.
Yeah, I mean, yesterday, I had a lot of people say, "Why weren't you at Fan Fest? Why aren't you at Fan Fest?" And I remind them, listen, I don't live in the city. I mean, I am a haul from New York City, man. I'm midway upstate, so we're talking 3.5 hours, depending on traffic. If traffic's good, I'm there in 3.5 hours. So obviously, that's impossible for me to get to. But I did, I saw a few of your vlogs and I saw the pictures. And dude, I see Adam with the super chat. Bobby Skinner is a man.
Oh
that
my!
Dude is big, dude. That guy. Wow, can we put him on the line, man?
That's the first, and I knew Bobby was a big guy before I met him because he always told me. And Adam, man, thank you very much. Says, geez, Bobby Skinner is a giant, man. Yeah, I knew Bobby was a big guy before I met him because he told me he was 6'7". But you don't realize it how big the guy is until you meet him in person.
Yeah,
like you just said. That's the first thing I said to him. I said, we got to put you on the line, man. He is a big dude. But it was awesome getting to meet them, and license plate guy too. Great guy. We ran a lap. We did the Joe Judge lap. And, it was just a phenomenal experience. I thought it was a great idea by the Giants. They didn't do a ton. I mean, I showed as much as I could. They didn't do a ton. It was a lot of 7-on-7s. Not much. I know a lot of people kind of, killed Daniel Jones. He made one really bad throw, which I didn't have a good angle for.
How many people send me – you talk about like people knowing you or whatever. I don't know if they'll know me. I would imagine they do. I've had some people see me.
For sure they know you.
The 3 Reality. Like I saw him at Rivers Casino in Schenectady. I don't usually go down there. I usually go to the one near my house. But I went over there and I heard somebody say Baddog. And I look and he's like, hey, he started talking. He's like, can I get my picture with you? Which was kind of strange to me because I'm like, who the hell wants their picture taken with me? Who the hell am I? So we'll see how that goes. And I forgot where the hell I was going with that, Chris. This is an old man moment I'm having right now. I am totally having an old man moment. I lost my train of thought. That happens when you get older, man. It freaking sucks.
It happens to me all the time too.
Come back to me.
Sometimes when you got to multitask, it happens to me all the time. But listen, all great people. I met, like I said, Authentic. I met Pest. I met The Hub. I met Lauren from She Got Sports.
Yep. I was watching as many of the videos as I could. Oh, that's what I was going to tell you, Chris. So, I mean, like I said, I don't know how many people know me in person, but I can't tell you the amount of things that people send me in Instagram and how many people sent me that throw by Daniel Jones. I mean, probably 24 people sent me that video of him throwing right to the defender. What do you think of this, Baddog? What do you think of this? What do you think of that, Baddog? I'm like, can you? Can you? It's a freaking preseason. I'm not going to kill the guy in the preseason. Wait till week 1. Can you give me to week 1 before I kill Daniel Jones? It's coming, I'm sure.
Yeah,
I didn't kill him though, Chris.
Yeah,
he still can't catch a damn ball.
Listen, man, the Daniel Jones throw. I don't know what happened there. I don't know if that was the guy stopped running the route, or if it was just literally like the worst throw of all time.
It was bad. I'm not gonna.
But like you said, I'm not gonna make a video on that. I'm not gonna go crazy about it. It's a 7-on-7s or whatever it was in practice. Like you said, let's wait to see if he does that in the game before we come down on him. Evan Ingram, I feel like it's almost Giant fans like almost look to boo Evan Ingram at this point. So it was just like a funny moment because I was live when it happened. And again, I'm not going to destroy him. It's practice, but obviously it cost us so many games last year where he dropped the ball and that ball was right in his hands.
I'm going to destroy him. He sucks, Chris.
but it was great just getting to see them. And I guess the big story of the day today, like we were talking before we went live, and I guess some Giant fans are going to have a conflicting opinion on this. And I kind of knew this going in, was that Joe Judge was basically going to treat the first preseason game as if it was the fourth, based on the old schedule, and he's not going to play many of the starters. In the back of my head, I was like, well, maybe he'll play Jones at least a series. You play him 2 series. You're talking about a quarterback last year who threw like 11 or 12 touchdowns. He's got, and albeit most of his new receivers probably aren't going to be playing. Galladay's not going to play. Barkley's basically a receiver. He's going to get a ton of touches this year. He won't be playing. Rudolph won't be playing. I get it. But he's got to get some kind of rapport with some of these guys. And you have one less preseason game this year. So I was a little bit surprised. I'm not going to kill Judge for it, but I was a little bit surprised that he elected not to give Daniel Jones any series at all in the first preseason game.
Yeah, when you told me that's pretty intriguing to me. I mean, I would think Daniel Jones would need the reps, even if it is just for a series. Normally, the first game they do play a series, then they play a quarter, then they play the dress rehearsal, they play a half. And then the fourth game is just pretty much everybody trying to get a roster spot, and they're trying to fill out the 53-man roster. So it is interesting. And with one less preseason game, like I said, maybe they're doing it backwards this year. They, like you just said, they treat the first game like the fourth to figure it out. Then he's going to play a quarter, then a half. And, I mean, I guess that's not a terrible thing if he's playing a half in the third game, which you normally would anyway. Then you just have the 1 week off. And then, he's in the game instead of a couple weeks off where he wouldn't be playing week 4. Then they have the week off, and then they'd start the season. But maybe they didn't start the season. They're still starting at the same time. So maybe they didn't have that week off. Maybe they did go right from preseason to season. That's weird. I mean, they haven't done it in 2 years, so I actually don't even remember how the schedule went because they didn't have a preseason last year. But
I think they usually had maybe not a full 2 weeks, but I think it was more than a week off between the last preseason game and the first regular season game. But I think that's what it's going to be. Judge kind of hinted at that. Like you said, it's a little weird because it's one less game. That's why I thought he'd get at least a series or 2. But it sounds like the third preseason game is going to be where the starters, Jones and Cootie, get the most reps. But what Judge said, and I guess part of his reasoning for why he really wants to back into the guys to play in the first preseason game, and I guess this is new to the league because he made it sound that way, that they after the Jet game, they have to be down to 85. They have to cut 5 players. So he might be looking at I want to see what we got. And he's probably not going to cut. Usually, you know this. You usually don't cut your worst players at the beginning. You'll cut the guys that are okay, but are not going to make your team, and you want to give them an opportunity to go somewhere else. So right. I could see it being something like that. These guys that are competing for the back end of the roster, maybe a guy like Ryan Anderson, someone like that potentially getting cut. And Judge wants to give those guys that have at least a slight chance to make this football team the opportunity to really show themselves in the first preseason game.
Sills is a good example.
Sills is a guy, someone like that. Yep, exactly. And he's, did you get a chance to? Oh, go ahead, Baddog.
Sorry, I didn't. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was just going to say, I didn't see anything. So is Kadarius Toney playing tomorrow? I would imagine he's going to get some reps.
Yeah, I didn't read anything that said he's not going to play. I did read insiders speculating that he may not play, and if he does play, it'll be in a limited role due to the fact that he hasn't been practicing a ton, right. And he's really down there on the depth chart. But it's the first preseason game. I think he should play. I'm not saying he should get a ton of time, but get him out there in some capacity, just to get used to the NFL. But I don't know. We'll see. I mean, we got 2 days. We'll see what they do. I think the offensive line is going to get a decent amount of playing time. The first unit. Because all the backups, we don't have backups right now. They were all cut. So I think the first unit will get at least a quarter and a half. And I guess that's what I'm most looking forward to in the first preseason game.
Yeah, I mean, Slayton's probably not going to play. Galladay's not going to play. I mean, I would imagine Kadarius Toney is going to get some kind of reps at some point in this game. And obviously, I mean, no Daniel Jones. This is somebody I'd be looking forward to. I'm looking forward to – I mean, McKinney's going to play. I'm looking forward to anything that you can see. obviously these games don't mean anything in the grand scheme of things. You just want to get out of them healthy. You want to see some good performances. But, I mean, if they stink, they stink. I mean, there's been years that the Giants are undefeated in the preseason. They won 5 games all year. And
happened 2 years ago.
Right. And I think last year they won the Super Bowl, if I'm not mistaken, they were 0-4 in the preseason. So it doesn't matter. It's kind of like the NBA, like the NBA Summer League and preseason baseball. Sure, it's good for the young guys to win a game, but at the end of the day, that doesn't mean anything. Those don't count for anything. You're just looking at performance. By the way, Deuce McBride is nasty, bro.
The Knicks? Yeah, he looks good.
Wrecking it last night, man. I was excited. I'm like, man, this kid playing with some energy, knocked down 6 threes. He was 6 for 6. I said, the hell of Deuce, we got to call him Trey McBride. That dude was knocking out trays from everywhere, man. He looked good last night. But, so I'm not going to put too much into the preseason. I know guys love when I rage and they love when I get pissed off. But I'm not going to sit there. And if Daniel Jones does throw 3 interceptions in one game, I'm not going to be like, oh, my God. That's something you learn from. If he does in the regular season, then we might have a problem. But I'm not gonna get too concerned about it because you're not going to be playing with everybody you play with. You're not
going to have the play. It's going to be a vanilla playbook.
Right, exactly.
We know they're not showing the full repertoire in the first preseason game. Everybody knows that.
Exactly.
Mike, man, thank you very much. He says, man, you guys have to accept it. You're way underpaid celebs, and I don't know about that. In a YouTube world, plastic. Mike, I couldn't believe the people were asking for my autograph. I said to him, I'm like, I didn't practice for this.
That's pretty awesome. You know what's funny? I was talking to DWG today, and he actually said that to me. He's like, "You are a celebrity." I'm like, "No, I'm not." He's like, "Dude," he's like, "How many people you have? How many subscribers you have?" I was like, "I don't know, 73,000 something." He's like, "Bro, you have 73,000 people that follow you. That's a good amount of people." I said, "I get. I don't know. I mean, I just feel like I'm dude that cover sports in my.
We're just Giant fans. That's. Yeah. But I appreciate all the support though.
That's gotta be awesome. I saw License Plays guy had something going around, and I just saw everybody like gathering around him. I go, so that's what it's like to be famous.
Yeah, he did like a pep talk before we did.
I saw that. That's what I saw. Like, so that's what it's like to be famous.
Yeah, and Nick the Wick, who was there, I got to meet him. Can't say thank you enough. He actually gave me a signed Darnay Holmes mini helmet. Nick, man, thank you very much. And he says, "What's up? Can't wait for some Giants football. We're almost here. I mean, regular season's in what?
4 weeks."
About a month. About a month, and it's going to be here before you know it. Yeah. And Tuto, my paisano, he says, "Salute, paisanos, Chris and Kevin. Drop by your home office to pay my respects, and for all the Giants fans around the world, I promise I'll slap all Eagles fans." What's going on, Tuto, man? Thanks for popping in the stream. Love Tuto. I don't know if you got an opportunity to see the depth chart, and again, I mean, it's. Who cares at this point? It doesn't mean much. I think it's interesting, I guess, to see where the New York Giants find where these guys stack up. You mentioned David Sills. He's a guy that Giants fans are in love with right now. They all seem to really be pulling for him to make the team. He was pretty high in the depth chart. He was above Pettis. He was above CJ Board. So right now, a guy that I think a lot of us were rooting for to make the team last year, who obviously got sidetracked due to the injury, looks like he's got a pretty good chance to make this team. And I'm a little surprised by that. Not now, I guess, because we've been hearing the good training camp reports. But if you would have told me that 2 months ago, after we got Ross, after we signed Kadarius Toney, I would have told you. I don't think I didn't see much of a path for him to make it. But it sounds like he's got a pretty good shot to make the team.
Yeah, I mean, the Giants only signed John Ross to a 1-year deal, so it's not like it's set in stone with him. And Kadarius Toney obviously is a rookie, so who knows what his role is going to be. And obviously, C.J. Board and Dante Pettis, I think they would be fighting with him. Your 3 guys are going to be Slayton, Galladay, and Shepard. And then I think it's a mixed bag of whoever does the best, and that includes Kadarius Toney. But, yeah, if Sills makes the team, I mean, maybe he provides a spark. I know, for one game, Austin Mack looked really good, and then we didn't hear from him again. And I don't know, man. It's interesting. I mean, I know a lot of people – are comparing Sills to Victor Cruz and what he did a few years ago. I don't want to let's not get too carried away. Victor Cruz is like, that doesn't happen every day, but I think Sills will make it, even if it's a special teams player. But, last year we were hurting for wide receivers a lot, and Galladay's already got a hammy, and Shepard, obviously he's got the concussion thing, and hopefully none of that happens, but it'll be interesting to see what they do. And that's what these preseasons are for. So you're probably going to see a lot of Sills tomorrow, or I'm sorry, Saturday. And like I said, I'm looking forward to seeing Giants football, even if it is just the second unit, the third unit. I don't care. I want to see some meaningful, not that it's meaningful in wins and loss things, but meaningful football where they're playing against live competition, not against each other, not practice. Something where you're looking at opponents' defenses. And definitely looking forward to seeing. Did you see Zach Wilson starting for the Jets? Like, I was hoping he did.
I didn't see that yet. To be honest with you, I didn't look into it today. But from the reports I've heard about Zach Wilson, I would guess he is. I don't think the Jets have come out and defined him the right. I'm not saying he may or may not start the game, but I would think he's going to get playing time because you've heard the Jets feel like he needs a lot of work right now in training camp. So I would think we'll get to see Zach Wilson.
Jets talk just said Zach Wilson's going to play 2 series. That's okay. I mean, Jets talk, that's what we thought Daniel Jones would do. But I just want to see him play. I don't care if it's 1 or 2 series. I just want to see him on the field. I want to see how he does. So I'm looking forward to that for sure. So I think that'll be cool to see Zach Wilson play and see what he has. Because, again, our defense, you're going to see pretty good defense, even though it will be vanilla. It's not going to be complex. You're not going to have all these, complex blitzing schemes and everything else. But
you don't know who's going to be out there either for our defense.
Right, but I'm looking forward to seeing what the kid has.
Oh, of course.
I think the Jets got it right this time. I really do. I didn't like Sam Darnold. I didn't like Mark Sanchez. I didn't like either one of those. Said they both sucked, and they did both suck. But I think they got it right with Zach Wilson, and we'll see.
We'll see. Tom, man, thank you very much. Chris predicting Sills and Nico Lalos make the team. I'm starting to believe more and more that Sills is going to make the team, or at least stands a very good chance to make the team. Lalos has a shot, too. I mean, I'd have to think about it. I mean, he definitely has a shot. A guy like Ryan Anderson, like I said, is a guy that could definitely miss this team. And if he does, that's the type of guy that Lalos could take his spot. Lalos played pretty well for us last year for a guy that was an undrafted free agent. We'll see. I think he's got a shot. I think both those guys have a good shot to make the back end of this roster. There's no denying it, Tom. And 2 guys that are definitely going to want to have to put forth a good impression on Saturday. NY Giants 26, man. Thank you very much. Been here the whole time. Haven't talked a lot. Thanks for telling me the channel. Oh, of course, man. I want to see Brightwell, Tony, Robinson on Saturday. Robinson.
NBC?
Yeah, it's on NBC. It's on NBC, yeah. Robinson, I think, is I don't quote me on this. He's been hurt. I don't know if he's going to play or not in that game. We'll see about Tony. Brightwell's definitely going to play. He's a guy that's competing for the back end at the running back spot. Yeah. What I'm excited to see a little bit, who's been getting great reviews, is Clement. I'm excited to see how he does in this first preseason game because a lot of beat writers have been saying that Clement's been the second most impressive running back behind Barkley.
I'm also Rodarius Williams is another one that has played really well on camera, and he's going to get some time. So like I said, I don't care if it's not the first unit. I'm always looking forward to seeing the Giants play, and it's going to be fun streaming the game. It always is, and we'll do what we normally do. We'll have some fun with it, and at the end of the day, like I said, the score doesn't matter. I just hope everybody gets out of it healthy. There's no, and that goes to stats too. That's really all it's about. You get your guys.
All I care about.
You get your guys their work. You get them. You hone them into football shape. You get they get some hits going. You get hit. You feel the hits. You crack the pads a little bit, and then you go out of the game and you hope everybody's healthy at the end of the day. It doesn't matter what.
That's by far the most important thing in a preseason game. Get out of there. Of course, like you said, you want to get your reps. Especially the younger players, but get out of there healthy. Q-Dog, my man, what's going on? He says, what's up, Entertainment Baddog? I must say that the beginning of no Giants football season is complete until my favorite Italian stallions are on the scene. Great time to be a fan of the Giants, man. Q-Dog, man, thank you so much for being here. Mr. Daniel Jones, big year for you, man. He's been a big Daniel Jones supporter from the beginning, and we'll see how he does this year. Q-Dog, man, glad to see you, man. Hope you're doing well. Andrew says Devontae Smith was wearing a Yankees hat at the I'm not surprised by that, to be honest with you, Andrew. I mean, I feel like every athlete wears a Yankees hat. It's kind of just like a fashion, they may not even be Yankees fans. I just feel like it's like a fashionable thing to wear. But speaking of the Eagles,
maybe that's why the Yankees are losing, because the dude got that hat on. Oh, not really. It's just because Andrew Haney absolutely sucks. That's why they're losing.
Speaking of the Eagles, I'm sure their fans think they're going to win a Super Bowl after tonight because they were winning in the preseason game, and Quez Watkins, I guess, is the next Jerry Rice because he took a screen pass. I think it was about 80 yards to the house. So I'm sure Eagles fans think they're winning the Super Bowl now.
And on that work, what channel is that on? The Yankee game?
The Yankee game was on 5, and I think that was on NFL Network. Yes, it was on NFL Network.
I don't have NFL Network's got. I don't get Philly. I got Washington and the Patriots.
Oh no, you know what? I had Washington Patriots too. They just showed the highlights of the Eagles game. I had the Washington game as well. Chicago Giants fan, man. Thank you very much. And by the way, what's his name looked like a beast in that. Chase Young looked like a beast in that game. What's up, Ain't It Bad Dog? Couldn't make it from the Midwest to FanFest this year. Like the Talkin' Giants spot outside MetLife. Any impressions from the practice? Chicago Giants fan. To be completely honest with you, it was hard to get much of a grasp on anything. I was having fun with people. Like I said, it was 7-on-7s. There wasn't much contact. Shepard looked good. I'll say that. Shepard looked like he was making a number of catches. He kind of stood out to me. I'll say that much, but it wasn't even like a real scrimmage. But I'll say Shepard. If there was one guy that made an impression on me, it was Shep. And I think Shep's going to have a big year if he stays healthy. I think he's going to have a big year working in the slot. I think that's where he's intended to play. And I think he's going to have a big year. He's had a really good camp by all accounts. So I'll say Shep. Shep stood out in a positive way.
I hope so. I mean, this is a big year for Shep. There's a lot of talk about the Giants letting him go. So, and listen, I love Sterling Shepard. I don't want to give up on him. I think he was great coming out of Oklahoma. He's obviously been disappointing. He hasn't lived up to what I thought he could be. But that talent's still there. He has definitely battled some injuries. His rookie season was pretty good, and then he just dealt with concussions, and he dealt with the foot, and he dealt with a lot of other things. But Shepard's going to be a big part of this offense. I mean, if you're going to be checking the ball down and going into the slot, that's where you're going to be going. And he's got pretty good hands, so he's pretty reliable. He's going to be the guy that moves the chains. He's going to be your possession receiver. He's not really going to go deep very often. But, on 3rd and 5s, that's the guy you're going to look for. So, and Shepard's usually pretty good at converting those. So, yeah, I think Shep's going to have a big spot. Also, down in the red zone, he could be pretty effective. When you got Slayton and Galladay on the outside and you got Saquon Barkley, it may open up the middle of the field for Sterling Shepard. So, he could get some touchdowns that way. But I think Shep will have a good year. I do.
Yeah, I'm with you. I do. The more I think about it, the more I think he's gonna. I just worry about injuries with him. Last year we got lucky, never got hurt. But if he stays healthy, I think Shep is where he belongs in the slot. He's always been good in that area. I think he's gonna have a good year. I think he's gonna have a productive year, and I think he's gonna be a lot more targeted than some people may think. You know what? I'm gonna make this bold prediction right now. I think Shepard. And what's going on, Christian, man? I think Shepard is going to have the most catches this year by a New York Giant receiver if he plays 17 games. I think he's going to catch the most balls by any Giant receiver. That includes Galladay. That includes Slayton. I think they'll have longer catches, Galladay. I think Galladay will score more touchdowns. But I think Shepard's going to lead the team in catches.
I can see that. I can definitely see him getting a lot. Like I said, a lot of the possession receptions. Yeah. So I can definitely see him having 70 catches, 75 catches, maybe for like 750, 800 yards and like 5 touchdowns. But I can see that definitely.
Yeah. But I by no means do I think he's going to be the. I think Galladay's still our guy, but I think he's going to be like the possession receiver. He's going to have a lot of targets. Connor, man, thank you very much. Do you know how Christian Darrisaw has been doing in camp? Because to be completely honest with you, Connor, I have no idea. He's a guy that I liked, but I have no idea what he's been doing in camp. I'll tell you, I know how. Slater's been doing a camp, at least from some things that I've read. He's been having a really good camp with the Chargers. I haven't read anything in the last 4 or 5 days. I'm a Giants fan, but I've read good things about Slater. I haven't heard much about Darrisaw. And I'm going to tell you what, if the Giants offensive line sucks this year, we're going to be talking about it throughout the whole season. Hopefully it doesn't. Hopefully it's great. Hopefully they gel and they grow. That's going to be the biggest storyline. People are going to say, well, why didn't you take Slater? Why didn't you take that? Why didn't you take a lineman in the first round? That's what people are going to complain about. Hopefully that's not the case. The offensive line, I'm not going to lie to you, Bad Dog. I'm concerned. And any logical Giants fan right now should be. I am concerned. I'm not going to flip out. I'm going to give them 4 or 5 weeks to see what they got. But we're really thin right now on the line. The Giants right now are kind of waiting for other teams to cut players just to bring in depth at that position. And we'll see what they got, but I'm concerned. You're talking about a unit last year that really didn't have any injuries. You're banking on complete health. I do think the silver lining is the younger players should get better. I think Andrew Thomas should get better. Matt Parrott, who knows? He didn't play a ton of snaps last year. He's got potential. Lemieux scares the hell out of me. So we'll see, but I'm concerned about it. I hope I'm wrong. I hope the offensive line's great this year, but I think most Giant fans, if they're being logical, should be concerned going into the year about the line.
I definitely think if you were being honest with yourself that the line was a huge concern before the season started. And definitely with what you're seeing with these guys retiring, guys getting shaken up, and there's just no depth there. It's really, like you said, it's really thin. And obviously, the offense is really only going to be as good as the offensive line. Daniel Jones is not a guy that's going to be able to, run around and heave the ball. He's not an Aaron Rodgers. He's not a Russell Wilson. He's not a Deshaun Watson. He's not close to those guys. Those guys are able to do it. Daniel Jones is going to need to be protected, and the Giants are going to need to run the ball. And that's the way they're going to have to play offense and rely on their defense. They're going to have to do a lot of that, and that's going to hinge on the offensive line. So it's a major concern. I addressed that a few weeks ago in a video, and I just said, this when I talked about how ESPN said they were the worst passing block in the league. And I said, ESPN, usually I don't agree with them, but it's hard to argue. It's hard to argue how, porous the offensive line was last season. And like I said, you hope that these young guys improve with a year under the system. Andrew Thomas definitely played a lot better in the second half of the season. You hope that he builds on it. But, yeah, what do you get from Parrott? What do you get from Lemieux? I think Nick Gates is pretty decent. But, hope Nate Solder's healthy. Obviously, he gives us a little bit more depth. But the thing is, Chris, with not taking Slater, I honestly believe that Gettleman did that for – draft capital. I think that he took a swing at it with the free agent money. Don't have any money next year.
No, I agree with you on that.
And I also think it's insurance if Daniel Jones is bad. I think that it's insurance. I've already seen articles about Daniel Jones replacement. Sam Howell.
Well, that's inevitable. You know that's coming. I'm gonna tell you what. I'm gonna tell you what right now, Baddog. I can plan it out. I already know after the first 2 weeks because I'm being honest. The first 2 weeks, Jones is not going to go out there and light up the world. Let's just be real. The defenses he's going up against with Golladay banged up, I already know the first week people are going to start talking about Jones got to be replaced second.
Barkley probably won't be there either.
Yeah, well, I think he'll be there, but I think he'll be limited. But I already know. There's going to be a lot of pressure on Daniel Jones this year, and we'll see how he responds. But it's inevitable. People are going to be talking about that all year until he starts beating good football teams. And I just hope he does. And John, man, I'm glad to see John here. He says the O-line will be fine. I think it's too. I think if you want to think from a glass half full approach in terms of the offensive line, obviously, like I said, the first thing is young players. If anybody's going to improve, it's going to be rookies going into year 2 in terms of taking a big jump. So that you want to think that way. There could be a huge jump with those second-year players. That's fair. And then the other thing is that the added help around them, right? You get the weapons. It makes the offense less predictable. You hope Daniel Jones has a better understanding of the offense, third year in the league. So that should help the offensive line if you want to think from a glass half full approach. I still think that it's questionable. And like I said, I don't care how optimistic of a Giant fan you are. If you've been watching this team over the last 10 years, yeah, you should at least be moderately, and in a year where, and again, I hope they were right in their evaluation of the line. But in a year where it's a put up or shut up year for your quarterback, if I have one knock on Gettleman this offseason, and overall I like what they did. I thought that, I like the pickups they made in free agency. I love the trade down in terms of the future value that they got. But if I have one knock on him in a year in which your entire legacy rests on the shoulder of Daniel Jones, I personally think they should have done a better job in terms of getting him protection. That's just my opinion. And I hope I'm proven wrong. Week 1, I hope this offensive line looks great. Anthony, man, thank you very much. Giant special teams are going to shine, brothers. You guys have a great weekend. Anthony, man, thank you very much, man. I appreciate it. Anthony, my man. And Irish says O-line equals Groundhog Day. Yeah, it's been the same thing for 10 years, but hopefully it takes a big step up this year. We'll see. What's up, Dust Thunder, man? Thanks for popping in the stream. What's going on there? Evan, man. The Mets won both games today, so somebody mentioned the Mets. They needed that, but now we got a 13-game stretch here with the Dodgers and the Giants, so we'll see how we do. Let's see. Let's take somebody's question here. Simple. What's up, guys? Go G-Man and DJ and O-line are the biggest question marks. Baddog, what do you think about – it's a Lakers question. What do you think about Westbrook? Let's go, Giants. How was FanFest was great, Tyler. FanFest was a lot of fun. Like I said at the top of the stream, getting to meet all the content creators, all the fans. I was absolutely blown away by the whole experience. And just being back in the stadium was great.
Yeah, as far as Westbrook goes, listen, it's more star power for Los Angeles. I don't know how well he's going to gel with those guys, but there's no doubt he's a massive upgrade over Schroeder. I mean, Kendrick Nunn's an upgrade over Schroeder. I mean, everybody's an upgrade over Schroeder. Schroeder turned down $84 million from the Lakers, got $6 million from the Celtics for 1 year. So obviously he bet on himself, lost. Thank God the Knicks didn't entertain that guy. But yeah, I mean, obviously Lakers have a ton of
I'm just answering that. I saw that. That's wrong. The Ryan Anderson thing. I just want to make sure. I want to make sure I told him that because that was Ryan Anderson got cut and then the Giants signed him back the next day. It was a contract. It was a contract thing, Buxo. He got cut, but the Giants brought him back the next day. I want to make sure I didn't miss that because some people may actually still believe that they brought him back the next day.
Back.
Yeah, but sports fan, man, thank you very much. Nobody's talking about Ellerson Smith, beast. Ellerson Smith got hurt. I don't know if you guys heard about that. Ellerson Smith got hurt. I think he's 4th on the depth chart right now for the Giants. I don't know how serious the injury is. He's not, Bad Dog, he's not a guy I'm going to do. And I think he does have upside for sure. You look at his college tape, really good. He's not a guy that I'm going to bank on having a huge impact in his rookie year with the New York Giants.
Man. He's
a fourth round pick. I'm not going to bank on that going into the year. Could he be a guy? Sure, he could surprise us and have a really good year. But realistically speaking, if we're, I think our edge rushers this year, obviously Ojulari, Lorenzo Carter, if he's healthy, O'Shane Zimenez. I think those year, obviously Leonard Williams is going to be a big sack getter for the team as well. But he's not a guy that I'm going to really rely on in terms of a Giant fan that I'm going to bank on to have a big year in his rookie year. I don't think you could depend on that.
Yeah, and I don't think he's going to get the amount of snaps he would need to have a big year either. But yeah, I mean, maybe he turns into something. But yeah, I'm not banking on him.
He could be really good. And I think he'll be used as a situational pass rusher this year. I think he'll get on the field. I mean, we saw last year that Judge did everything in his power to give the guys he believes in, the guys that he was part of the drafting process for, all those rookies, get them on the field, get them acclimated to the game. So I do think Ellerson Smith's going to have a role with this team, but maybe 30% snap count, gets out there in 3rd and long situation. He's going to get an opportunity.
That's rush situations.
Yeah, but I don't expect him to have a huge rookie year.
Yeah, and I mean, we're real quick. I was just going to say, guys like Carter Colvin, Tate Crowder, Cam Brown, they all made big impacts when they were out there last year. So there's no, Ellerson Smith definitely could, but he, like you said, he's not going to get a ton of snaps. So he'll be a situational guy. Yeah, that's
exactly. Charlie, man, thank you very much. Daniel Jones will be better this year. Mark my words. Go Giants and blank the Eagles. Charlie, I'm with you. I'm with you. I would be surprised this year. Now the question is, will he be good enough? But I would be surprised this year. All signs point to he's going to be better this year, if you're being honest with yourself. 2nd year in the same scheme, that alone, you look at quarterbacks in the past, young quarterbacks, the first year they got to learn a new scheme, they usually have a setback. I expected that with Jones last year early on. He gets the best weapon back with Barkley. You hope he's 100% all year. He adds Galladay. He adds Tony. The offensive line, it can't be worse. You got to figure it's going to at least be a little bit better. All signs point to that Daniel Jones is going to be better this year. I don't think that's even the question for most Giant fans. I think the question is he going to be good enough to justify going forward in the 4th year?
Yeah. Again, we've talked about it ad nauseum. It's a huge year for Daniel Jones, no doubt about it. Definitely with you on the second part of that statement, though.
Yeah.
F the Eagles. Definitely with you on that.
We can all agree on that.
Definitely with you.
We can all agree on that. And Danny, man, thank you very much. Thoughts on Miles McBride? Yeah, Baddog was talking about him briefly. I've seen 2 of the Summer League games. I missed the one that he was talking about against the Lakers. But even in the game that I called, the first Summer League game, I was impressed. And he didn't even have a good statistical game, but he was aggressive. He showed confidence. He's hustle. And you can tell he's going to be a spark plug for this basketball team. I don't know how much playing time he's going to get. I mean, you look at the backcourt right now, obviously with the, but they're older, injury-prone players. So he may get an opportunity at some point this year to get decent minutes. But, yeah, I think he could definitely be a contributor for the New York Knicks in the near future for sure.
His energy was great last night. I was really impressed.
What did you think? And I don't want to talk too much Knicks, but what did you think of Jericho Sims? I was impressed with him. I don't know how he played.
Yeah, another. He kind of reminds me a little bit of Mitchell Robinson. He's kind of raw, but I like Sims. I was ultra impressed with McBride. And again, not just the 6 for 6 was unbelievable from downtown. He was stroking it, but it was his defense. It's his intensity. It was that hustle. So many hustle plays. And I know Tom Thibodeau is not the coach of the Summer League, but the Thibodeau influence is there. He's going to fit right in. I really like that kid. I was really impressed last night.
Yeah, I like him too. Jamal, man, thank you very much. Hey, what's up, entertainer? I'm going to the Thursday night game versus Washington. It's going to be crazy. That's going to be a great game. I think it's going to be a really close game, and you have a great time, man. Listen, I really want to go to the Falcons game. I don't think I'm going to end up going. I would love to go to it though. Eli Manning's retirement. ceremony. I would love to go to that, but we'll see. But yeah, man, you have fun, man. I've been to FedEx Field once. It wasn't for a football game, but have fun, man.
I never been there. I was at the old RFK. I was dumb. That place was awesome. Not like the old Metal. I mean, the more rickety the stadium, the better, in my opinion.
I miss Shea Stadium. That was a rickety stadium.
Yeah, so was the old Yankee Stadium.
Yeah,
there's a lot of charm with those places.
And man, thank you very much. And OBJ, stand up, new member. Welcome to the squad. Mighty Mango, what's going on, man? Hope you're doing well. He says, hello, Chris. Go Big Blue. What's going on, Mango, man? Thanks for popping in. Hope you're doing well. Hope you're having a good summer. Let me just make sure I didn't miss anybody here.
And I did see the one guy behind you when you were streaming, and he said, "You're entertainer."
Oh, that was Maze. I actually knew him. It was a joke. It was a joke. Maze.
Oh.
Yeah, he's got his own podcast. Yeah.
Okay, I didn't know what that was.
Yeah. That was a joke, but yeah, it was funny though. I'll tell you what, Baddog. When I got to my seat, nobody really. It was more so at the tailgate where a lot of people were coming up to me asking for pictures. When I was at my seat, for the most part, everybody was obviously focused on the scrimmage, and it started raining at the very end because the fireworks were going off and the thunder started coming out. It started raining, so I tried to get out of there. On the way out, I think I had like 8 people stop me and they're like, "Can you take a picture? Can you take a picture? Can you take a picture?" So that was cool, but that was cool.
Very awesome. It was very awesome.
NFL Express, man, thank you very much. What's up, Chris? Wasn't at FanFest, but James Bradbury signed my hat and gave me his gloves. Someone tried to pickpocket me. Damn. How did somebody sign your hat if you weren't there? Maybe somebody was there and you gave them your hat to sign. And I'm sorry to hear about the pickpocket, man. But sorry to hear that. What's up, Noah, man? Thanks for popping in the stream, buddy. But yeah, I don't know what he's talking about there. What's up, Dyer, man? Want to say hello to him? What's going on, my man? Thanks for popping in the stream, man. Mr. Mayor in the chat. I love this, but they never look at the chat. Anyone agree? Pete, it's a show. We look at the chat when we can. It's a slower time right now, so we're going to look at the chat a lot tonight. But, when there's stuff to talk about, a lot of times we're going to go back and forth and conversate with one another. That's what you do when you have a guest. But I do like to look at the chat when I can. But tonight's slower, so tonight's pretty much going to be like a Q&A because there's not a lot to talk about. That's why I've been looking at the chat.
Right. And next week, that'll be different.
Yeah, next week
we'll have the games to talk about at that point.
Yeah. And Grimman, thank you very much. Jones is being asked to throw downfield more this year, which puts him under pressure more often. He panics under pressure, needs to process quicker. I mean, we say that all the time, but yeah. Listen, Grim, I think he's going to take a lot more shots this year, and I think it's going to result in more picks. And I think that's something as Giants fans you have to accept, and you have to hope that the big plays come along with it.
I lived with it with Eli Manning for years. And I always go back to America's Game 1986. And I lived through 86 when Phil Simms was really struggling. He was really bad most of the year. And then Bill Parcells said, go out there, take some chances. I don't care if you throw 4 interceptions. He had the best game. We had a huge game against Minnesota. They came back and won that game after trailing 17-0. Obviously, the 4th and 17 to Bobby Johnson was huge. But I mean, that's what you got to do. I think Daniel Jones, like I said, the first time, his first game, I think he just went out there and played. I don't think he thought about things too much. And I think sometimes he's thinking, I can't make this. Like I always go back to the confidence thing. And I think if Daniel Jones just plays and just lets his, gifts do the talking. I think if he just plays and lets his instincts take over, I think that he's thinking too much, which is why he's processing slowly. I think if he just reacts, he'll be way better. But I think sometimes he goes back and he's thinking, I can't make a mistake. I can't do this. I can't do that. And by the time he figures out what he wants to do, it's over. He just has to play football. He just needs to go out there and play. He can't worry about, what if I throw an interception? What if I fumble? I think he just needs to go out there and believe in himself. And I swear to God, it's confidence with Daniel Jones. It isn't even processing. Because when you doubt yourself, you're going to delay. He just needs confidence. He just needs a couple good games. Chris, if he gets off to a bad start, I have a feeling he's going to have a bad year. And I know he's playing 2 tough defenses, which sucks for him. But even if he has 210 yards and a touchdown, or he doesn't have any turnovers even.
That's all I want. That's all I want.
You can't have a game where he's 17 for 36 with, 3 interceptions or 2 interceptions and a fumble, because then I think it's going to start to toy with his head again. If he goes out and he has – the first game against Denver, if he has a good game and they win, I feel like he can have a really good season. I think he'll build on it. But if he has a bad game, I feel like it could, it could send him into a tailspin. So he just, it's confidence. I swear it's just confidence. He can play. I know he can play. I know he has the gifts. I've seen this. I believe in him when it comes to the physical tools. I don't know how much I believe in him,
the mental tools.
Years, but
no.
Hopefully he figures that out this year. I think if he has a couple good games, he will he will be a lot better. But those first 2 games are important.
I think a big issue with Jones is definitely his processing, like people say. I get that. And I also just feel like he feels a lot of times like he has to put the team on his back because he doesn't have enough help around him. I feel like that's part of the problem. And now with the added pieces, I think what we're hoping as Giant fans is this gives him the opportunity to really showcase what he could be as an NFL quarterback. And I think that's obviously what we're most excited about this year, is seeing him take that monumental leap. And that's what we're hoping for. I'm not going to, again, I say it all the time because I'm not trying to set the expectations too high. I am not talking about Josh Allen monumental leaps because that to me is unrealistic. But
Baker Mayfield is realistic.
Yeah, a good quarterback. That's what I want this year. I want to be able to end the year being like, we got a quarterback that's trending up that has shown that he's now in the middle of the pack of NFL starting quarterbacks.
Yep, I think he can get there.
That's what I want.
I really do.
That's what I want this year. And Boozman, thank you very much. Let's go Giants. Trade Ingram. I think we would all like to trade Ingram if the right opportunity presented. So
$6 million. Just get rid of his ass.
Oh, Booz said you meant to see. Okay, so you mistyped. He meant to say you were at FanFest. Well, I'm sorry that you almost got pickpocketed. I hope you had a good time, man. Outside of that,
I tell you what, I miss. I say it all the time. I miss the Giants up here, man. I can't believe that it's been 9 years since they've been up here, but I miss them. They were up here for 16 years. That was fun.
Yeah, that's the first time I've been to MetLife for anything outside of like a practice, and it was cool. Like I said, just being back in the stadium was a great experience.
Oh God, yeah.
Jason, man, thank you very much. Evan Ingram is going to get his second Pro Bowl this year. Calling it now. I mean, it wouldn't shock me, to be honest with you. He made it last year.
He made the Pro Bowl last year. I mean, he just has to play 16 games and he's in, no matter how bad he does.
It wouldn't shock me. I mean, I think he could put up the necessary stats to get in. I mean, I could definitely see him duplicating last year's stats, so it wouldn't shock me if he made the Pro Bowl, if I'm being honest with you. But Pro Bowl, like we saw last year, doesn't mean anything. The Grom, man, thank you very much. Eagles choked a 13-0 lead. What a poverty city. You know what? It's preseason, so it's funny because we said that Eagles fans were going to overreact if they won. Whatever. I'm not going to kill them. I still think the Eagles are a max 7-win team this year if everything breaks right. But it's preseason, so I'm not going to get crazy. But I'm sure their fans were going nuts when they were up 13-0.
You already know. You know how they are.
JD, what's going on, man? Hurts goes 3 for 7 tonight, and Eagles fans already nervous. Give me your surprise cut. Always happens. See, well, Conley last year, and then you also had the wide receiver. What's his name? Coleman, right? It was Coleman. Yeah, those were the 2 surprise cuts last year. This year, let me read the rest of it just so I didn't. And a surprise starter. What offensive line gets benched first? We are close. Wings and beer. Okay, I mean, all right. I'll start with the. Yeah, I mean, I've been asked the surprise cut for a while. I've said Ross. I don't think that's going to be the case anymore. I think Ross is making the team. By all accounts, he's had a strong training camp. He's pretty high in the depth chart, so I'm not going to go with him. I want to say Zimenez, but he's first on the depth chart. He hasn't played much in training camp, and I'm not even predicting he's going to get cut. But do I still think he's a possibility of a surprise cut? Perhaps. I look around the rest of the roster. There's not going to be any surprise cuts on the line because we're thin to begin with. There's not going to be any surprise cuts at tight end. We're thin to begin with. I don't really see any surprise cuts at wide receiver now if I'm not predicting Ross. Quarterback, there's going to be no surprise cuts. Running back, I don't see any surprise cuts. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. If I had to pick one, even though I don't think it's going to happen, but I didn't think Conley was going to be cut last year either, in terms of my biggest potential surprise cut, I guess I would say O'Shane Zimenez. Even though I don't think it's going to happen. What offensive line gets benched first? I mean, I think the Giants are going to try to do the best they can to keep these guys out there and continue to grow. You know, somebody asked me on my stream the other day, Bad Dog, would you be open to the Giants continuing to play musical chairs on the offensive line? I said, absolutely not.
Oh, you can't get in the rhythm if you're constantly rotating doors of line. These guys need all the unity they can get. They need all the work together they can get. The offensive line builds off one another, and you're not going to get any kind of chemistry and rhythm if you're constantly shifting guys in and out of the lineup. You can't do it that way.
Yeah, and last year it made I even though we weren't in favor of it, but last year it made more sense because you had rookies and you had veterans on the team, so you were kind of trying to balance both. You were trying to make sure that Daniel Jones wasn't decapitated, so you had Fleming out there playing, but at the same time you were trying to integrate pairs. So I got it. I got the musical chairs a bit last year, even though I wasn't fully on board with it. This year it would make no sense. But outside of an injury, which is the obvious answer to who's going to get benched, but if somebody gets benched for poor play, you know what? I'll go with Parrott, actually. I know a lot of people would answer Lemieux. I think I could see Parrott, and I'm not predicting it. I think he's going to be the starter the whole year. I don't want anybody to think I'm predicting this. I could see Parrott getting benched if he's doing very poorly 3, 4, 5 weeks in, because as much as Giant fans may hate Nate Solder, I still think he's at least a mediocre offensive lineman that could come in and not embarrass himself on the right side. So if he's doing very poorly, I could actually see Matt Parrott getting benched.
Yeah, I mean, for me, surprise cut maybe Lorenzo Carter. I mean, the Giants are loaded at linebacker, so he hasn't been healthy in years either. And I mean, he and Zemenes, to me, they're expendable. I don't see it happening, but again, if it's a surprise cut, I would go that way. I didn't see the rest of his comment there.
The other part of it was I'll just go back up and read.
I can read it.
Surprise starter. Oh, I missed the surprise starter part. Wow. I'll let you answer first.
I mean, that's tough. I mean, wow. I don't know if there is a surprise starter.
Is Crowder considered a surprise? I don't think so at this point.
I mean, I think the Giants are going to go with what they have. I mean, I'm not going to say Ojulari is going to be that's not a surprise starter.
None of the edge rushers are a surprise, whoever started.
And I don't think you're going to see a surprise starter wide receiver. I don't think you're going to see Kadarius Toney start. If Barkley's healthy, I mean, he's going to start. I don't see. I mean, maybe Corey Clement. I mean, even if Barkley's not there, maybe Clement gets the start over Booker, over Alfred Morris. So I guess my surprise start would be Corey Clement. If
that's not bad.
Something maybe we'll go with Corey Clement. Offensive line being benched. Is Will Hernandez starting? Is he a backup?
Hernandez starting.
I think that's the first guy you see go.
They didn't like him last year.
Right. So I think that he's I think of the guys getting benched, it's him. I hope that he improves, but I feel like he's regressed since his rookie season, and I could see them having a short leash with him.
They had a short leash. Well, some people seem to think it might have been COVID, but they had a short leash with him last year. In terms of the surprise starter, I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, we know the starting corners, so there's not going to be any surprises there. We know the starting safeties. Austin Johnson's not going to surprise me if he's the starting nose tackle. So the defensive line, for the most part, I'm not going to be surprised. I mean, I don't think I'd be surprised with anybody on the defensive line in terms of a starter. Offensive line, I think they're going with the 5 they've said. Outside of potentially a running back, like you said, if Barkley's not ready to go, maybe Clement. I don't really see a surprise starter on this team, at least to open the year. And Independent Man, thank you very much. Understand Jets-Giants game designed to evaluate bubble guys and determine cuts. That said, most intriguing matchup, biggest potential surprise on either team, Jets-Giants regular season game soon.
No, they just play
he's asking when is it? When did we play the AFCs? There was like 2 when we went.
We went 2 years ago.
So 2019. Yeah, 2023. They're going to play the Jets in the regular season. They play them every 4 years. In terms of the most intriguing, I mean, again, I don't even know who's going to play. So it's very hard for me to answer this for the Giants. But I've talked about Toney. You're obviously very excited to see Toney, if he's going to play, how they're going to utilize him, whether it's going to be in the special teams. Yeah. The offensive line, though, I'm going to continue to say it. That's what I'm most intrigued by in this game. And if Adoree Jackson's playing, that's a guy I'm going to have my eye on. Adoree Jackson, to me, is the biggest X factor on this defense this year. So, but the offensive line as a unit is really what I'm going to be looking at in the game. And if Adoree Jackson plays, you want to see if he's doing a good job, because he's the type of guy that I feel like could take this defense to the next level.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to Azeez Ojulari. I would imagine he's going to get some snaps. Definitely keeping my eye on him. I think that was a great pick for the Giants to be able to trade down, get draft capital, and still get that guy. When a lot of guys thought we were going to take him at 20. So, but the fact we got him at 50 was awesome. Definitely looking forward to Zach Wilson. Jets talk was in here real quick. I don't know if he's still in here, but he said that they plan on playing him 2 series. I'm definitely looking forward to seeing him play. I don't know if there's going to be a really big surprise in either team, independent outside. I mean, again, you're looking at backup guys, so I don't know
Maybe he means for the year. Maybe he means for the year.
I don't know much about the Jets, so it'll be tough to say who their biggest surprise is. Maybe Mims breaks out this year with Zach Wilson or with Wilson. So
Davis is there. Yeah.
Maybe Denzel Mims makes some of them. Although I'm not a big fan of Big 12 receivers, but maybe he does. With the Giants, biggest prize, maybe Corey Clement. He's had a really good camp. He was pretty good with the Eagles. Maybe he is. Maybe he's a big surprise. We'll see.
Yeah, for the Jets, and again, I don't know the Jets nearly as well as I know the Giants. But what I'll say is, I guess if one unit to me is going to surprise this year, I think it's going to be on the defensive side of the football. I never put a lot of stock into a rookie quarterback, and I like Zach Wilson, and I like the way the Jets are building around Zach Wilson. They've really focused on the offensive line. They've gotten them some weapons, but rookie quarterbacks are going to struggle, and I think he's going to struggle. You brought in Robert Saleh, who is a defensive guy. He's a defensive mindset. So would I be shocked if the Jets defense was top 10 in the league, if they really surprised? Without knowing their full personnel, I think Quinnen Williams had a huge step up last year. I don't know their team nearly as well as I like the Giants, but I could see that defense being better than maybe a lot of people think. They brought in the defensive guys, the head coach, so I'll go with that. And as far as the Giants goes, Jones is what I'll go with, because I feel like most people think Daniel Jones is going to be bad. I don't think that. I think Daniel Jones is going to be pretty good this year, so I'll go with Daniel Jones. I'm not saying Giants fans, just NFL fans in general. I think Daniel Jones is going to surprise people this year.
I hope he does.
Yeah, NYB man, thank you very much. The O-line will be better for Danny Dimes. Watch. Hey man, I sure hope so. Again, I think it will be too. It's much like Jones for me. Like what we said about Jones earlier, Baddog, it's the same thing for the offensive line for me. It's almost like I know the offensive line is going to be at least somewhat better.
It has to be better.
Is it going to be better enough? Right. Is it going to be league average? That's what I want this year. I want league average for Jones for a starting quarterback, and I want at least bordering on league average for the offensive line. Will it do that? Will it take that big of a step up? And I think that's the
if they're league average, the offense is going to be really good.
Yeah. Well, I agree with you. All I want from the offense this year is league average. Give me an average offense, and I think I think we'll
average offense, top 8 defense, top 10 defense. The Giants can win 10 games. That's really what it takes. They have to play smart. They have to play field position. They can't have turnovers inside their own territory and let that defense do what it does and score. When you have opportunities, you got to come away with 6. You can't be getting threes. So. I think the Giants, that offensive line is going to be very important in how we do this year.
Yeah, for sure. And Janice, what's going on? She says, hey, Chris and Baddog, the dog pound representing.
All right, Janice.
I think DJ is his own worst enemy. When he's feeling confident, he's great. If he gets nervous, yeah, I mean, I kind of agree. In a sense, I think there's other factors than just that. But, yeah, and I think a lot of it is in his head. And it's the same thing with Barkley. I think because the Giants put Barkley and Jones in such a bad situation to start out their careers with the poor supporting cast, I feel like a lot of times they try to do more than they should. And, the Steelers game is a perfect example. The first game last year, outside of – and I don't even kill him for the Watt interception. I continue to say that. I think that was equally as good a great play on Watt as it was Jones. The second interception, I think, is a perfect example. The Washington interception, I think, is a perfect example when he threw an interception in the back of the end zone. I think there's times where Jones, and I think some of it has to do with the fact that he feels like he has to play a perfect game to win football games in the past because of how poor his supporting cast was. I think he tries to do more than he should, and I hope as he grows as a quarterback, he knows when to live for another play. Don't take that, that's what I'm hoping for this year. I want to see him grow in terms of his decision-making. And we say it all the time, situational football.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of guys got on Eli Manning for taking a sack or sliding down on the ground. But, Daniel Jones needs to learn to do that. He needs to learn to take a sack. Sometimes the play's not there to be had. Throw the ball away. Live to fight another down. You can't make something that's not there. So hopefully he does. And again, that's football IQ. I know he's smart. He needs to put it all together, man. And I see the guys in the chat. I saw Judge smack one into the corn again, but we'll see. I mean, I see my Yankee faithful, and I always appreciate that.
What's going on? And DeGrom says, Baddog, send henchmen to protect the librarian in Philly.
I got you, DeGrom. Don't worry about it.
By the way, real quick about I was watching it briefly. I don't know if you saw the beginning of that game tonight. The Field of Dreams game with the Yankees. That was awesome. When they had you have to watch it. When they had the players come out of the corn stalks,
I will. Yeah, little bad dog ain't feeling too good, so I had to run to the store and get him some medicine. So I missed the beginning of the game, but I'll definitely go back and take a look at that.
Yeah, they mimicked the movie. I'm a huge Field of Dreams fan. It's one of my favorite sports movies ever, and it was really cool. You saw it was almost like a surprise. You see Judge walking out of the corner. It was cool how they filmed it.
Yeah, let's look at Giancarlo Stanton as clutch here. And a 2-run homer, take the lead. Let's go.
Benjamin, thank you very much. I'm jealous the Giants had their fan fest. That looks so much fun. I wish the Rams did something similar. Instead of training camp, I'm going to be honest with you, Benjamin, and I loved fan fest. It was great. I would have preferred training camp because training camp's more than just one day. Training camp is 4, 5, 6 sessions open to the public.
Trust me, man.
I would have preferred that.
I miss training camp. I was there all the time.
Yeah. I love training camp. I mean, I've only been to 2 training camps, but I loved it. It's a lot of fun. I love this too.
I would go 2 days. That's how I did the 2 days. I miss it, man. I miss that. And
Tuto, he says it's so easy to spot an Eagles fan from a mile away. They all have a big mouth and an oversized behind, and they never shut up.
Go! Get out! Get out! Yeah! Sorry. Giancarlo, let's go!
Yankees took the lead.
8-7. Let's go! I called it. Let's go.
There you go. Now you were down 7-3. Good comeback tonight. Benjamin, thank you very much. DWG will be shaving Bad Dog's head. Oh, that's right, for the 24-hour stream in 2 days.
Yes. Head getting shaved on stream. You won't want.
By the way, my mods, post-bed, we're going to be doing this show. Well, I'm not going to be able to live stream the game. He's going to be live streaming the game on his channel during the 24/7 stream. So go over there, check it out. And we'll be doing the show over here next week.
Yes.
And Janet, I think I already read that one, actually.
It was a different one. It was a different one, but she said the same.
Oh, okay. Hey, Chris Bad Dog, represent the dog. DJ is his own worst enemy. No,
she just said that twice. That's what.
Oh, okay. Janice, I guess it was a mistake, but thank you so much. I appreciate it. And thank you for being such a great supporter for both of us. Irish says, I am a little surprised that Daniel Jones will not play. Yeah, we were talking about that at the top of the stream, and I'm the same way. Again, I'm not going to go crazy about it, but at the same time, you're talking about a quarterback that really needs to take a big step up this year, and needs to gain some chemistry with Kadarius Toney specifically. Galladay's not going to be in the game, but I was surprised. I really thought that Daniel Jones would at least get a series of 2. I'm not saying I'm shocked because Judge a week ago kind of hinted at this, that the starters weren't going to play. So I'm not shocked, but I'm a little surprised. I thought he'd get some playing time in the first game.
Yeah, I am too. I thought that he'd at least get a series.
Yeah.
But, like I said, get him his 2 quarters at the end of it, and hopefully you just want to get out healthy. I mean, at this point, reps would be nice. It's like you said, it's not like Galladay's playing, so he's not going to be able to have any chemistry with them anyway. He's throwing to Ingram, he's throwing to Shepard, he's throwing to Slayton. He knows what he's doing. At this point, it's his 3rd year. He doesn't really need the reps in the first game, so you just want Daniel Jones to get out of it healthy. And like I said, we'll take a look and see what the Giants backups do. And obviously, I'm not going to be looking at Mike Glennon's performance, but
no.
We'll look at everything else.
I mean, you want him to do well. You want to short back.
We'll look at the running backs. You're going to look at Clement and Brightwell and Booker, and we'll get a look at guys like Stills and hopefully Kadarius Toney gets a series or 2, and we'll take a look at the defense. So it'll be fun. Like I said, I just love doing the Giants. I love watching the Giants anyway. So it's football.
It's still super exciting to have preseason football back. JD says my answer: surprise cut Yadam. That's you know what? It's funny that you say that, JD, and I'm looking forward to popping on your channel tomorrow. By the way, just let me know the time. But it's funny you say Yadam because actually he was who I was thinking. I didn't say him because in my head I'm like, would that constitute as a surprise? But I guess it would be a slight surprise. They traded for him last year. Most people feel like he'll be the 3rd or the 4th corner. That's actually a pretty good answer. I wouldn't be shocked. I wouldn't be shocked if he was cut. So if that qualifies as a surprise cut, I could see that. Gettleman saves his 3rd round pick with Beal. I don't think Beal's making this team.
I don't either.
I really don't think Beal's making this team. I'll tell you what, I would be more surprised if Beal made this team than if Yadam got cut. I think that's.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I don't think Beal, but maybe I'm wrong. Maybe Beal makes the team. I don't think he's making the team. McKinney and the starters, McKinney, could see McKinney push Ryan 4 to 5 games in. Here's the thing. I think McKinney and Ryan are both going to play. I think they're going to have a lot of 3 safety sets. Maybe I'm wrong, but I don't see Ryan getting much of a reduced role throughout the year. They paid him a lot of money. I think they got a lot of faith in him, but I do think, here's what I'll say. I think McKinney, as the year progresses, will get more in terms of the snap count. I think it'll grow as the season progresses. I'll say that, but I don't really see Logan Ryan getting much of a reduced role. Maybe a little bit, but not much.
I'm expecting McKinney to have a big season. I love McKinney. So that's probably my next jersey.
Yeah.
Problem is, I've been looking for the jerseys, and every damn jersey I look at, it's all like what the hell's the word I'm looking? It's not stitched. Like, I want stitched jerseys. I keep finding the ones with the print or the whatever the iron-on stickers. I don't want that, man. I want the stitched jersey.
You want the legit one?
Yeah, I can't find it anywhere. I'm going to NFL.com. I'm going to Giants.com. Well, it's the same thing. I'm going to Fanatics. I'm like, where the hell is a stitched jersey? Like, I want a stitched jersey.
Yeah.
Because, you wash the ones with the, they fall apart after a while. So I want the stitched ones.
Yankees fan. He said, yep. Baddog just said it. Yankees are winning 8. Big game.
Oh, yeah, I just exploded. I called that. I said, come on, Stanton. He did, baby.
You guys are only.
We gotta hold our breaths, Yankee fans, because Chapman's not in there. I don't know who's coming in. I don't know if it's Britton. I don't know if it's Eliza, but whoever it is, the back end of the bullpen always gives us agita.
You guys are only a game and a half out of the wild cards. This is a big game for you.
That's why that was big. That's why that was big.
Yeah. Mike, man, what's going on? He says, what up, guys? Go Big Blue. What's going on, man? Thanks for popping in. NYB says, all right, Tanner, the Yankees don't. No, can't do it.
I've offered him that since I met him.
Can't do it. I appreciate the offer. And the I'll tell you what, the Mets are sucking me right back in. I already know they're gonna fall apart. It's what the Mets do to me. But now they go out there, they sweep the Nationals. They're sucking me right back in. I'm starting to get a little bit of hope that they could sneak and win this division. But I know it's gonna be a tragedy at the end of the season. That's just the way the Mets work.
Did you miss one?
Did I miss one?
I thought somebody asked you if you were going to be on Jets 24/7 tomorrow, and I
am going to be on Jets Talk 24/7. Yes.
Maybe I didn't get to it yet.
Oh,
that could be.
Who asked it?
I can't find it now.
Hold on, let me look here.
I thought somebody said, "Are you going to be on Jets 24/7 tomorrow?"
Let me make sure I didn't. I am going to be on Jets 24/7 tomorrow. At night. I don't know what time.
Shit, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't see a super chat on my phone either where it says. But if somebody did ask that, yes, I am going to be on just 24/7.
Maybe I'm seeing. I'm not live streaming, but I'll be working with Central tomorrow. So there you go.
Well, there you go. Yeah, I'm going to be on Jets 24/7. I don't know what time, and then I'm going to have him back on my channel in a week or two. So yes, Tana, would you trade old Ojulari O'Shea? No. Well, for Chase Young, yes, but that's never going to happen. But yes, in a fantasy land, absolutely, but that would never happen. Tudo says we all are watching the live Yankees game now here in Palermo, and we're going crazy. It's almost 5 a.m. now. Forget about it. Tudo, my man.
Tudo! You know what? Bake up a pie. Let's go. A little meatball and sausage.
Oh, Benjamin asked it, and I just missed the last sentence. Sorry about that, Benjamin. Yes, I am going to be on just 24/7 tomorrow.
Okay.
I'm not sure what time. I know it's at night, so I'm going to be on it. Yes. Let's see what we got here. By
the way, I don't know what the hell took me so long, but I finally got over to JD Sports Talks channel. Awesome channel.
He's got a great channel.
Great stuff.
Yeah, he's got a great channel. I'm doing a video. He asked me to come on and do a video with him tomorrow. I think we're going to talk about Jason Garrett, but yeah, he's got a really good channel. He does a lot of Knicks content. Yeah. What's up there, Big Daddy Nate? Man, thanks for popping in the stream, man. Let's see what we got here. His weapons have absolutely nothing to do with this. Here we go. Edisode says his weapons have absolutely nothing to do with why he struggles. We're not going to act like Slayton and Shepard are trash. Oh, I am. In terms of number one weapons, you think Darius Slayton is a number one wide receiver or even close? Look at all the top quarterbacks in this league. None of them have a number one wide receiver close to Darius Slayton. Darius Slayton's fine as a number 3 option, and maybe he could eventually become a legitimate number 2. Sterling Shepard's fine even as a number 2 or 3. Giants didn't have a number 1 option. The number 1 option in the pass game last year was Evan Ingram. It's undeniable that we needed an upgrade at the weapons department. I think we all agreed with that. Yeah. That's why we went out there and spent as much money as we did on Kenny Golladay. It's why we drafted Kadarius Toney. We clearly did not have sufficient enough weapons for this offense, regardless who the quarterback was. So I disagree. I'm not saying that is the full reason, but the fact that we had no weapons last year, all you got to do is look at the last 6 or 7 games last year. The defenses were teeing off. They were sending 8 guys every play because they knew that nobody was going to create separation. We had no threat with Saquon Barkley out of the lineup. I disagree with that. I think we definitely needed a huge upgrade in the weapons department, especially when you factor in Barkley didn't play last year.
Again, I agree. I don't think Slayton and Shepard are trash.
I'm not saying they're trash, but they're not.
The offensive line really, it really struggled. And you know me, listen, I'm not a guy that's going to make excuses for Daniel Jones. You guys know that. But that offensive line wasn't good. And, before he did get injured, it seemed like he was getting a little bit better. And then the injury sent him back, and he never was really healthy. Chris and I talked about the one thing that we really questioned Joe Judge was a game against Arizona when he obviously wasn't healthy, and they were getting blown out, and he was hobbling around the field, and he kept him in the game. Couldn't understand that. It's like, dude, this is supposedly your franchise quarterback. This game is pretty much a lost cause, and the season is hanging by a thread. You got to probably sit him for that game. He wasn't healthy, and then I think that lingered for the next couple of weeks. And obviously, he played better against the Cowboys, I think, when he was 100% healthy. But yeah, Daniel Jones has to improve. It's not just the weapons. It's the entire package. He definitely has an upgrade as far as offensive players go. But when you don't have Saquon Barkley, it really makes you extremely one-dimensional. It was tough for everybody last year. Luckily that year's behind us. Hopefully they all learn and they all grow from it, and they get better this year. That's really all we can hope for. I still believe that Daniel Jones is good enough to do this, but he's got to believe that himself.
Yeah, we'll see. Obviously that's the major question mark this year. And I saw Tyler type this a couple of times, so I just wanted to pull it up. He says, guys, I have Asperger's, and I have huge dreams, and you guys are consistent with content, so I appreciate you guys. Keep grinding. Love y'all. Hard work pays off. Go Giants. Go Knicks. And go. Well, Tyler, man, we appreciate you, man. Thank you.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. Thank you for all the support you always show on the streams, man. And thank you for being here, man. I just want to shout you out because I saw you type that a couple of times, and we appreciate that. Thank you. And Tuto, man, he says, Tane and Baddog are Giants legends here in Italy. The whole city will show up to the airport and escort you guys, especially little rugby players.
I appreciate Tuto. Game over. The White Sox just won.
Tuto, my man. And what's going on there, Ali? Oh, the White Sox won?
Yep, they just hit a walk-off home run. That doesn't surprise me.
Oh, my God.
That doesn't surprise me. Back into the Yankee bullpen's a wreck.
Jet, I want to say hello to Jedi. Jedi, what's going on? But, guys, it's a slower night tonight. There's not a ton to talk about. The major storyline is Daniel Jones is not going to play in the first preseason game. The depth charts came out. They don't mean much at this point in time. And outside of that, we talk FanFest. And again, I had an absolute blast for anybody that is listening that was there with all you guys that showed up. I can't say thank you enough, for you guys being there and supporting me, supporting Bobby, supporting Justin, all the content creators that were there. I had a lot of fun. But go ahead and ask your questions, Giants questions. We'll talk about it. We'll talk Giants for the next hour or so. And just thank you to everybody for being here. I hope you guys are enjoying your night.
And for all you Yankee fans out there, just know when you watch Aaron Boone's press conference, another gut punch because he brought Zach Britton's trash. I've been saying that all year. I've been saying that for 3 years. The guy sucks. Let's bring him into close. Idiot. Of course, he walks the guy before and then gives up a 2-run homer. That's just Zach Britton. The guy's garbage. Loizaga should be in there closing. He's got the best stuff out of the bullpen outside of Chapman. I don't know.
And Mets have the same problems. Trevor, we don't know who our closer is half the time. G Nation, man, thank you very much. Sup, guys? Let's go Giants. What's going on, my man? And I saw you type this a couple times. Why was Tanner looking like Joe Judge? Yeah, well, I had the hat on. I had Joe Judge's hat on. So I always wear that hat, but I left that hat in Pescara. So now I got to get a new Giants hat because he lives in Washington, D.C. So I'm probably not going to be getting that back for a while. But, actually a couple people said that. That's funny that you mentioned that. A couple people said that you look like Joe Judge. Let's see what we got here. Why aren't they wearing the Super Bowl 46 10th all right, let me read this real quick. Why aren't they wearing the Super Bowl 46 10th anniversary uniforms for Eli's jersey retirement game? It's something you got to ask the Giants. Right. Yeah, I have no idea. Amazing guy. I have no idea, but I'm excited to see Eli Manning get retired, and maybe they'll have some kind of patch on the uniform for him this year with his jersey retirement. What's up, Omar, man? Thanks for popping in. He says, what's up, Chris and Baddog? Chris, it's Omar. Oh, that's right. I met you. Yes, I signed your towel. I remember that. What's going on, Omar, man? Thanks for popping in the stream, buddy.
Nice.
And Big Daddy says, I look like Dave Gettleman. All right, Big Daddy. That must be why you like Dave Gettleman. I know you're a big Gettleman guy. But glad to see you here, Big Daddy, man. Thanks for popping in the stream, man. Do you guys – all right, here we go. Bambino says, do you guys feel the O-line is going to – well, if it's bad, yes. Yes, if it's bad. If it's good, obviously. If it's mediocre, it just needs to be mediocre. If it's mediocre, I think we can win football games. But if it's as bad as last year, yes. You know, I saw somebody on Twitter post this today, Baddog, and they basically said Daniel Jones, and they basically highlighted Daniel Jones, needs a good offensive line, and kind of like insinuated that guys like Pat Mahomes and Aaron Rodgers and Russell Wilson don't. That's bullshit. Every quarterback needs an offensive line, and if an offensive line is as bad as the Giants was last year, and again, I'm not putting all the blame just on the line. It's a collaborative effort. It's Jones as well. He's part of that, but you're not going to win football games. You'll win some here and there, but you're not going to be a consistent winner in the NFL. So, yes, if the offensive line is as bad as last year, which I don't think it will be, the question is, will it be better enough? Absolutely, it's going to cost us a lot of football games like it has over the last decade.
Yeah, the offensive line has to. I mean, again, guys like Russell Wilson, Aaron Rodgers, Deshaun Watson, they're special.
But even they need offensive line.
I was going to say, how many Super Bowls have they won?
Yeah.
It's hard to win without that. You may be able to beat some bad teams, but when you play against the creme de la creme in the NFL and you don't have an offensive line, you're going to struggle when those games matter most. So we got to hope they improve. We got to hope middle of the pack. We got to hope that you want to see that. You want to see them, you want to see them get a lot better, because that way going forward, yes, get them and drafted the right guys. Yes, we have a young core of linemen we can believe in going forward. We don't need to address it as much, and we can address other pieces. So hopefully Parrott, Lemieux, and Thomas take a massive step up. Hopefully Will Hernandez gets back to form that he was his rookie season, and hopefully Nick Gates continues to impress. He's been pretty impressive. And then maybe when Solder retires, you go out and you get yourself a really good guard or a really good center, and you move Nick Gates back to guard, and you can add a really good piece to a line that's got a good young core. That's what you hope for. And we're going to have to find out, man.
Yeah, for sure. Benjamin, he says, still on my final draft of KP Slanders for Saturday. Probably will use it around the late night Sunday. I don't give a damn if KP works. He makes and his cheap kid. No, stop, Benjamin. Nobody ever has to do that. We appreciate your support. I know you got a running joke with KP. John, man, what's going on, man? Thanks for popping in the stream. He says, favorite Giants. I mean, I think we've answered this in the past. I think for you, it's the
right. Matt Barr's field goal against the Niners
to get to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, that's my favorite.
And my favorite moment has got to be when we knocked off the undefeated. I mean, there's so many incredible moments that I love as a Giants fan, but
especially because I'm older, I've seen a lot of good ones. But that 1990 game, I say it all the time, man. If you want a good old-fashioned, hard-hitting, really well-played game, that 1990 NFC Championship game between the Giants and Niners is one of the best you're going to find. And I don't know, man. The Niners are the best team. They're looking for a three-peat. Nobody gave the Giants backups a chance. And they went in there and they won ugly. And then they did it against the Bills, man. It was 1990 is a special season for me. So I love it. And I mean, all four of them are special in different ways. But that 1990, I'll never forget that. Those guys are, like I said, that was a special team to me, man. It really was. It was great.
Yeah. And for me, it's got to be 08, beating the undefeated Patriots. And I say it all the time, I don't think anything's ever going to top that in my sports viewing life, when you factor in all the scenarios. So we'll see. I mean, I'll tell you the first Giants team I fell in love with. And I love the Giants. Actually, probably right around when I was becoming a diehard Giants fan, the 2000 Giants. I fell in love with that team. That was the first team I really fell in love with. That made me head over heels in love with the Giants. That 2000 Giants team is the first team I really fell in love with. But in terms of a defining moment, it's got to be the 08 Super Bowl.
See, and again, you're 10 years younger than me. So 1990, 2000.
Yeah.
See, about 14, you really, like I said, I mean, obviously I love the Giants, but when you're 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, I mean, how much you really understand. And as you get a little bit older, you really start to to pour yourself into the teams that you root for. I mean, for me, I mean, 86 was awesome, but I was 10 when they won, so I didn't really know a ton about it. It meant more to my dad than it did me because I never saw the Giants struggle. I never lived through the 70s, and I didn't in the late 60s when they were god awful for 14 years. So I didn't see any of that. I didn't struggle with it. But then, I think 1989, I knew that I really, really loved the Jim because that Flipper Anderson shit still bothers me to this day when they lost to the Rams in overtime. Like, that hurts. And that was the first time, like, it really hurt. So when they won it the next year, I think that made it even more special because they lost such a heartbreaking way the year before. But I would say 1989 was the year that I really fell in love with the Giants. It took a little with the Yankees. It was immediate. It was 1985. I was hooked.
Yep.
With the Yankees. But I went to so many Yankee games as a kid. Obviously, the Giants only played. I went to a lot of Giants games too, but they played 8 home games. The Yankees played 81, so 10 times more.
Yeah, well, I was the same way as you. And again, I always liked the Giants, but I wasn't like in love with them up until probably 99. Like, I really loved Tiki. He was my first player I fell in love with. 2000, that team was really what put me over the top. But my first love, I say it all the time, was the Knicks. When I was a little kid, that was the first team I really fell in love with. Like the 93, 94. Oh. I was only 8, 9 years old, but I was hooked. I was glued to the Knicks. That was my first love. And then as I, got older, then I fell in love with the Mets and the Giants right around the same time. But my first true love was the Knicks. And Stephen, man, thank you very much. Stand up, new member. Welcome to the squad, man. I appreciate it.
That's a good Italian name right there. Stephen Bracciaforte. I love it. You got the Italians in here all the time, man. It's good stuff.
And Grim, man, thank you very much. Look for quarterback Malik Willis out of Liberty as a riser in the draft. Hopefully DJ bowls out. If not, he's got crazy upside. Has a cannon, super athletic. I mean, hopefully I don't got to be looking at quarterback prospects. I'll be looking at them maybe around week 12 or 13 if Jones isn't doing very well. But hopefully that doesn't become a thing. To be completely honest with you, I've done little to no research on next year's draft right now. I'm obviously focused on this upcoming season. But, in terms of the quarterback position, I hope that's something we don't got to think about. I hope we're thinking about drafting a lineman. I hope we're thinking about drafting an edge. Because, regardless of how sexy a quarterback prospect may look, and again, if Jones isn't the guy, you got to do it. But if we're forced to do that, you're setting the franchise back again. You're starting from square one when you have a rookie quarterback. It's going to be another 2 years until such time you really get to be potentially a contender. It takes time for rookie quarterbacks to develop.
Yeah. Again, I don't think if the Giants are looking at a quarterback, I don't think it's going to be a guy out of Liberty. I think it'll be one of the more established guys. Like I said, I think
Rattler, right?
Spencer Rattler might go number 1 overall. Oklahoma should be really good. They should run the table in the Big 12. They should not lose a game in the regular season this year. They shouldn't. They should go undefeated. There's nobody in the Big 12 that can compete with that team. Rattler's one reason why, and then the defense is a lot better. But Oklahoma should dominate the Big 12. And then Sam Howell out of North Carolina. That's the other one that I hear for the New York Giants. So. But again, I don't want to think about that. I want Daniel Jones to be the guy because, like Chris said, if you're drafting a quarterback, you're starting all over again. You were drafting a quarterback because you have a new GM, and then you probably have a new offensive coordinator, and you're blowing it up and starting over again. But you gotta hope Daniel Jones is the guy.
Yeah, it's 2 more years if Jones is not there, unless we go the free agency route and we go like the Kerry Collins route, the stopgap route. Then maybe you could piece it together. But if you go draft. It's 2 years. Benjamin, thank you so much for the $10 super sticker. I'm going to have to take a rain check. I changed my setup, and right now I do not have near the leg room to do that. But I promise you, next stream, I will push it forward, and I will do the chair spin for you. I promise you. Maybe I'll be able to do it at the end of the stream, but right now I'm like really jam-packed right now. I have no leg room.
I just saw somebody said Oklahoma in the SEC. No. Oklahoma may not be in the SEC until 2025. They're contracted through 2024, the Big 12. They don't plan on leaving the Big 12 till the contract is up unless it completely falls apart. Then maybe sooner, but But them and Texas probably will not be there until 2025. I hope the Big 12 falls apart and they're there in a year. I want Oklahoma, Georgia, Oklahoma, LSU, Oklahoma, Bama, Oklahoma, Florida. I want those games. Oklahoma, Auburn. I want that stuff. Oklahoma Baylor. I mean, I love kicking the hell out of Baylor. And the great thing is that they'll still get to kick the shit out of Texas because Texas is going with them.
Ben, I can't do it right now, Ben. I'm trying to tell you to save it. I owe you 2 now next stream. I will do it. I will pay up, but right now I don't got the leg room, Ben. I'm not lying to you. Jameson, I wanted to say hi to you because I saw this in the chat. Jameson, I got Baddog on the channel. I'm talking to Baddog. I'm not going to be able to – it's not like a normal Q&A where I'm going to be able to say hello to everybody, but I see you in my streams. I appreciate you for being here. Thank you to everybody for being here. I appreciate it, Benjamin. Thank you very much.
Oh,
and Eddie, man, thank you very much, man. I appreciate it. Giants will take the NFCs. Let's go, Big Blue.
Let's hope so, man. I so bad. I want to be doing a Talk a Giants show talking about the playoffs. So bad.
Yeah, Ramel, trust me. And I was talking about it at the beginning of the stream. I am not confident in this offensive line right now. But by the same token, I can't flip out yet because I have to give them an opportunity to prove that they made that. I'm going to give Judge and Gettleman because it was a collaborative effort. You know, we talk about how Judge has a lot of say with the personnel decisions last year. He had a lot of say with the personnel decisions this year as well. It was a collaborative effort. I am going to give them their opportunity to prove you wrong, to prove me wrong, because I would have went offensive line. I wanted Rashawn Slater. I am going to give them the opportunity to prove me wrong that these offensive linemen are going to take a huge step up this year. But I'm going to tell you what, I'd be lying to you. I'd be lying to everybody in this chat if I told you guys that I wasn't concerned with this offensive line going into the year. But I'm going to go in with an open mind and give them the opportunity to prove me wrong. And I'm not going to flip out after 1, 2, 3 weeks. I'm going to give them 5, 6 weeks. I'm going to give this offense a fair chance to prove to me that they're gradually starting to get better. Now, I'm not going to give them as much rope as I gave last year. Last year, I gave them a full half season because I said new playbook, no off season. I get it. If the offensive line is struggling after week 4, I'm going to have major concerns. And I'm going to tell you right now, and I'm a guy that genuinely tries to give Gettleman as fair of a chance as I possibly can. If this offensive line is bad this year, I'm going to rip Gettleman to shreds. I'm going to tell you that right now because that was his mission statement when he took this job. Gettleman is gone if this offensive line isn't showing significant progress this year. That's my take on it.
That was his mission statement, and the first 2 picks he had in the first round were Jones and Barkley.
Yeah.
So he's building it kind of backwards. But, you know, I expressed concern about the offensive line the entire offseason, did a video on it. There's no doubt there's a lot more questions than answers on that offensive line. And we're just going to have to hope that Gettleman and company know better than we do, and they have confidence in these guys, and they step up. That's all we can hope for. But again, Chris and I talked about it earlier in the stream. If you're being honest with yourself as a Giants fan, you can't possibly be going into the season going, the offensive line is set. The offensive line is going to be great.
No, it's clearly a question mark.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
like I said, I'm not gonna freak out about it because I don't know what they are yet. I have to hit the head real quick. I'll be
yeah, you do that. I'm going to talk to the chat. DJ says, let's say the Bears have a terrible season. Fingers crossed. Do we trade their high pick or keep? Well, DJ, I mean, I don't know. I can't answer that. I don't know who's going to be the players there. I don't know what our needs are going to be. I could project that we're going to need a lineman, an edge, potentially a quarterback if Jones sucks. But I don't know. I don't know what our needs are going to be. I don't know what players are going to be there, what players are going to fit our needs. But I do think that is going to be an option. If they have a top 4 or 5 pick, there's going to be teams that need to trade up and get a quarterback if we don't need one. And if the right deal presents itself, I think the New York Giants will absolutely, if the right circumstances there, entertain trading down and continue to accrue draft assets. But there's no way I could answer that without knowing what the Giants' needs are, what players are going to be there. There's no way I can answer that. But it's clearly an option if we have a top 5 pick. Benjamin, he says, Benjamin, I will wait till whatever stream I'm doing, I'm going to obviously make sure you're there. And I'll make sure I'll be able to push. I redid everything, and right now I have no leg room, so I can't do it tonight. But I will. I'll make them up to you. I promise you. And there's a third one I'm gonna have to make up for you. So next stream that you're in, I will be paying you back.
Get your peak counters ready for Saturday, people.
And Benjamin says 3 range X spin. All right. I have to pay interest. You got me. 9 spins. Next time I get the opportunity, you got it, my man. You got it. Talk Giants about defense, please.
Real quick, I just want to say before you answer that question from Bambino Mets, the Eagles-Steelers game's on now, but I saw the highlights. saw the Quez Watkins touchdown. So it was like a 2-yard
screen pass.
Yeah, it was a 2-yard pass. So I'm sure they.
It was a screen pass, and he just it was straight line speed.
I'm sure they were talking about how Jalen Hurts is the man.
Yeah. This is a good question by Rivals. Other than the O-line, what should we be mostly concerned with on this team? Yeah, for sure. Yeah, Daniel Jones is the biggest question mark. And then the other answer I would give you is health. I think there's a lot of guys on this team. You worry about their health. You worry about Barkley. You worry about Galladay. Even Jones, who, has missed time. So health. And I think last year, as crazy as it may sound, even though we lost our best player, we stayed pretty healthy. We didn't have key injuries to the defense for the most part. Outside of McKinney, the offensive line had no real injuries. So health, that is a big, I guess, question mark going into the year. Can the guys that have injury history, Evan Ingram didn't suffer any injuries last year, but he's got injury history. Sterling Shepard, same thing. So can those guys remain relatively healthy? So that, I guess, that would be my biggest concern outside of the O-line. And, of course, Jones. And B-Mags, man, thank you very much. What's up, boys? Football season is back. Time flies. Am I the only one worried that Galladay will be injured 50% of the time he's here? He's here. I hope he's not Carl Pavano.
No, please not Carl Pavano. That's just bringing up bad memories, Mags. Bad memory. You're in a bad memory now. It's like Carl Pavano threw the pitch to Tim Anderson out there.
Oh, really? Oh,
no,
like
it's like Carl Pavano.
Yeah, I was going to say he's gone, but
he's
gone. But
Zach Britton is the new Carl Pavano. Zach Britton sucks.
As far as Galladay goes, B-Mags, I obviously you want to go on optimistic. The Giants doctors, they did their due diligence. They looked him over for 2 or 3 days. They were confident in what they saw. But, again, I'd be lying to you guys if I said I have no concerns about him potentially re-aggravating that hamstring injury. He's had hamstring injuries in the past. He missed time, I think it is rookie year due to hamstring injuries. He missed sometime last year due to hamstring injuries. And that is something that could pop up throughout the season. So, cross your fingers. Hope he stays healthy. But I'd be lying to you if I said to you, I have no concerns whatsoever. No, I do think it's not something I'm going to think about on a weekly basis. He's going to go out there, he's going to play. But would I be shocked if he re-aggravates that hamstring injury throughout the year? Absolutely not. I think it is something that it's fair to be concerned about going into the year.
Yeah, hamstrings linger. They're tricky. I mean, you never know. You might think you have it licked, and then you move wrong, and it's like your back. They're weird. Trust me, as a guy that ran track, as a guy that works out, did legs today, as a matter of fact, I know about the pulled hamstrings, and they can feel really good one day, and you think you're 100%, and then you, like I said, you twitch it wrong, you move it wrong, and there it is again. So you just got to be careful. They're a big muscle, and obviously, the bigger the muscle, the more it hurts, and the more it hampers you. And with the fact that he's had the hamstring injury history, it's concerning. I mean, we can't sit there and go, sweep it under the rug. It ain't nothing. Well, by the way, we're going to sweep the Eagles under the rug this year. But yeah, so it's concerning. Hopefully, it's not a problem, but it's got to be in the back of your mind.
Yeah, absolutely. And Jedi, Jameson said good night to Jedi. Good night, Jameson. All right, Benjamin says, Baddog answered this yesterday. Chris, do you think Kurt Warner deserves to be in the Hall of Fame? First thing I'm going to say is this. The fact Kurt Warner's in the Hall of Fame, there shouldn't be a question about Eli. I think Eli's more qualified than Kurt Warner was. Everybody forgets that Kurt Warner was a journeyman quarterback after his 3 or 4 years of dominance with the Rams. And don't get me wrong, and that's why he's in. Kurt Warner, I'll say something about Kurt Warner that you can't say about Eli. Kurt Warner had a 3-year stretch where you could say he was arguably the best quarterback in the sport. And that's why he's in the Hall of Fame. The guy won an MVP. The guy was very dominant for 3 years with the Rams. He had ideal circumstances, of course, on the turf, whatever it may be, but he had dominance. So I understand why he's in the Hall of Fame. He won a Super Bowl. He went to a Super Bowl with another team. I think he's at best a borderline Hall of Famer that got in due to his dominance for that 3-year stretch. That's what I'll say about that. But I will say that Eli Manning is more qualified, in my opinion. And Warner was better at his best than Eli ever was. But Eli, for his career, was a better quarterback. That's what I'll say about those two quarterbacks.
Yeah, I said that I thought what got him into the Hall of Fame was getting Arizona to the Super Bowl in 2008.
That was the cherry on top.
That is the one that cemented him. Yeah. I think without that run in 2008, I don't think he's in. But I think that run and how well they played that year, and nobody picked them to go to the Super Bowl, I think that put him in the Hall of Fame. And he had a great Super Bowl. They came up short because of Roethlisberger and Santonio Holmes. But I think the third Super Bowl, and the fact he was dominant for 3 years, where you can't say that about Eli. Like you just said, Eli never had a 3-year stretch where he was the best quarterback in football. Kurt Warner did.
That year, you can make the argument. We say that all the time, John. 2011, you can make that argument. But like 3 years, he was dominant with the Rams. Dominant.
Yeah.
And Kevin, man, thank you very much. A lot of agita over the offensive line after all the 53-man roster cuts. What are the odds of scooping up a serviceable into? I think it's going to happen, Kevin. And now, I don't know what your definition of serviceable, but I don't expect them to get a starter. I think they're going with what they got, but I think they'll get a solid backup. I think that's what's going to happen, and I think they're going to wait for every team to make their cuts to get the best possible player that they could get at the position. Here's what I'll say, Baddog. I would guess, and I don't know whoever they pick up is going to be on this team. Maybe they'll pick up somebody else down the line. I would guess, knowing that there's a rule that every team has to cut 5 players, I think the Giants are going to pick up somebody. There's going to be an interior offensive lineman that's going to be cut this first week. Like I said, a lot of times teams will cut players that aren't necessarily, their 5 worst players. It's guys that they feel like may have an opportunity to play somewhere else. This week, I expect the Giants to pick up somebody for the offensive line, and more than likely somebody that's going to be cut from another team. That's what I'll say.
Yeah, there's going to be somebody that they'll add to the team for depth.
Yeah.
I don't think it's going to be a starter, but I definitely think they'll add some depth pieces.
And it might be more than one pickup. It might be a guy they pick up this week, and then they like another guy a week or two before the season starts that just misses a team. I don't know when, who the guy's going to be, when we're going to know for a fact that's going to be that piece, but they're going to pick somebody up. And Rudy, man, thank you very much. Tana and B Diggity, our first round YouTube. What's up, Rudy, man? Glad to see you, buddy. Appreciate everybody. Rudy's the man, dude. And Stephen says, I have some hope that the coaching staff knows something we do. That's what you have to hope going into the year. And that's why I'm not going to flip out about the offensive line. I'm also not going to pretend that everything's peachy and that I know for a fact that they're going to be good. I don't. But it's why I'm not going to flip out about it yet. I have my opinion as a fan, but at the end of the day, I'm going to hope everything else that they improved is going to help improve the offensive line and them growing together as a unit together, bringing everybody back. Might not have been my course of action, but as a fan, you have to hope the guys in charge are doing the right thing. We're going to find out. But it's why I won't flip out. I'm not going to flip out for the first 4 weeks. I'm going to give them some time. I'm going to give them a little buffer. I'm not going to flip out after 1 week, 2 weeks. I'm going to recognize Barkley's not going to be out there at full capacity. Galladay is not going to – and you're going against 2 great defenses. So I'm not going to flip out the first 2-3 weeks. But if they don't get this thing going by week 4, week 5, I'm going to start to have serious concerns about the offensive line. But I'm going to give them a little time.
I think the Dallas game is really when you can really start to judge what we have, because they don't have a good defense. And I think that you're really going to know what this offensive line is. You better know by that point. And like Chris said, the first couple of weeks, you hate to say it, but they may have some growing pains again. And, just with the offensive line, it just has to get better as the year goes on. It can't regress as the year goes on. I felt like it kind of did that last year. So, and again, there was a lot of things going on. Colombo getting fired and bringing in Googs and all this other shit that was going on, and rookies in and out of the lineup, and there was really no way to build a chemistry. And it was the first year under all the system. They should improve. Yep. They should. The circumstances are much better for them this year to succeed. So obviously these guys have faith. They took a swing at the offensive line last year in the draft. Gettleman saying, I believe in my guys. Judge saying, I believe in my guys. So we have to.
And you have to give them the opportunity to
right.
hopefully answer our fears, in a positive way, answer our doubts.
Yes.
And he had a second part of that. He says about the O-line, but they don't even have experienced backups. Solder's experienced, and I would say Jonathan Harrison is pretty experienced. But outside of that, we don't have experienced depth. We have a bunch of, and that's why they're going to have to pick somebody up, Stephen. They might have to pick up 2 guys, but they're definitely going to have to pick up at least 1. Like you said, with experience. The 2 guys that they brought in here, and I think they're obviously going to. I mean, they brought in Joe Looney for a reason. They felt like they needed a more experienced player on the line. He retired, and then Fulton retired on top of it. So they're going to bring in somebody. I have no doubt in my mind. I just think they're waiting, like I said, until some players are cut off rosters. But obviously, I think the depth is a major concern with this line right now. There's no denying it.
Mm-hmm.
Sean, he says, in your opinion, is Saquon a lock? I never want to say lock because I don't know if he could re-aggravate an injury in training camp. Here's what I'm going to say. As of now, based on what the Giants have said, and I could only go based on what the Giants have said, I think he's going to play week 1. Judge even went as far to say that he wouldn't rule out the possibility of Saquon playing in a preseason game. So if he's open to at least the possibility of Saquon playing in a preseason game, it would lead me to believe that there's at least a solid possibility that he's going to play opening game. But if he does play opening day, which I'll say 75, 80%, I think he's going to, he's not going to get a lot of carries. I think he's going to be used conservatively, especially the first week, being that there's only going to be 3 days rest before that Thursday night football game, and he wouldn't have had a full offseason. I think they'll use him sparingly. I don't think he's going to get a full allotment of touches. But yes, I think he's going to play week 1.
Yeah, again, you have to work him back into football shape. He can't come in there and just haul the whole workload. It's not going to happen. He's coming off a surgically repaired knee. And again, there's a difference between being in gym shape and being in football shape. He's got to get used to the quick bursts. He's got to get used to getting hit. He's got to get used to a lot of that stuff again. He hasn't played a football game in about a year. So he's got to get acclimated to that. He's got to get his endurance back. And the way you do that is you slowly work him back into the offense. So while he may be there week 1, he might only get 5 to 8 carries or 5 to 8 touches or something. And you're going to see, guys like Corey Clement and Devontae Booker and Alfred Morris, maybe Brightwell. I mean, who knows? We'll see who the Giants bring in as a backup. I would imagine it's going to be Booker. I mean, they signed him. So I imagine Booker is going to make the team. But, Clement, Brightwell, and Morris, we'll see who wins that job. But, those guys are going to get the workload the first couple weeks.
Bambino, have a good one. He says he's got National Guard duty tomorrow. Be good, man. Thank you so much for popping in.
Thank you for your service, sir.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, absolutely, Bambino. And Big Vito, I see him say this a lot. He says we could have had Deontay Brown and Trey Smith late. And, yeah, a lot of Giants fans looked at that, and I completely understand because when we were doing the draft, we wanted a lineman in the third. I wanted a lineman in the first round. But we were, we thought they'd draft a lineman in the third. What I'll say to you is this. If they drafted those guys, Big Vito, and yes, they would have provided his depth and potential future depth, they weren't going to be starters on this team. Deontay Brown drafted a third round offensive lineman. They were not going to start. They were going to. The plan from the start was to start Lemieux and Hernandez. That's what it was going to be. They would provide his depth though if those guys got hurt or they struggled. And I wouldn't have been against that. But my line of thinking was, I really want to improve this line. I would have rather done it. If you're going to do it in the first. Fix the freaking problem. Rather than wait till the third or fourth. So that's kind of why Big Vito, I didn't kill him once it got, because I know a lot of Giants fans did, but once it got past the second round, I was like, at this point, they showed their hand, they traded down, they got future draft capital, take the best available player. As the draft gets further along, I'm more about drafting the best available player than need, because a lot of times those guys aren't going to play for a year or two anyway, once you get to the third, fourth, fifth round, and you don't even know what your need's going to be in 2 years, so that's why I'm not going to kill them for not going line in the third, fourth, fifth round. Those guys wouldn't more than likely have an immediate impact with this football team.
Right. I mean, you guys all know. The lineman I wanted was Creed Humphrey. You could have used a center, a real center, and moved Gates back to guard. I think that would have helped the guard spot. But it is what it is. You got to be. I'm happy with Ojulari in the second round. So I'm not going to get too carried away with that. I mean, he's going to be an edge at some point, and we needed an edge, so hopefully he provides that. But, yeah, I mean, I still think that the offensive line it's the biggest question mark going into the season. I don't think there's any doubt about that.
Yeah.
Like I said, these questions are going to be answered soon, guys, because football is not too far away.
And Sid says, which play is used more this year, the Jones RPO or the Tony screen pass? I'll go with the Jones RPO. I think Tony's absolutely going to catch some screen passes, but I think they're going to use the RPO a decent amount with Barkley in the lineup. Even Tony potentially in the Wildcat with some RPO with Barkley in the backfield as well. But I've said it. In the Denver game specifically, I think they're going to use that RPO a decent amount. I think they're going to try to rely on Jones's legs with those strong corners on the outside. But I think the RPO is going to be a major, and you hope Jones stays healthy. But I think the RPO is going to be a major weapon for the Giants this year when they're completely healthy, when Barkley's completely healthy. I think it's a big-time weapon that they could utilize with this offense this year that they couldn't really utilize to its full potential last year with Barkley out of the lineup.
Yeah, and it'll always work against the Eagles because they're ultra-aggressive, and that's where he had his biggest runs were against the Eagles. And, again, that takes pressure because it makes the defense hesitate, and that's going to help in the grand scheme of things. The RPO is definitely a weapon that they could use. It worked really well with Dak Prescott. It worked really well with Carson Wentz. There's no reason it can't work with Daniel Jones. But like Chris said, having Saquon Barkley back there enhances it so much more because as good as Gallman was for us, and Gallman did a really good job, but Gallman doesn't scare you. Gallman is 3 yards in a cloud of dust. Gallman is breaks one, he gets, a 25-yard run, whereas Saquon Barkley takes that one to the house. We talk about the game in Seattle when Gallman had that big run to start the second half, and it was like a 40-yard run down the sideline. It was like, well, Barkley takes that to the house, which is true. So Barkley is your home run threat. He can score from anywhere on the field, and it just makes that RPO that much better because you really have to respect Barkley.
Yeah.
As a quarterback.
Yeah. But like his other question, I definitely think they're going to, the whole thing with Tony is get him out in space. That's wide receiver screens. That's quick crossing patterns. That's direct handoffs,
double
rounds. So that's how they're going to use it.
They do with Tavon Austin. That's really what they're going to have to do with him.
Yep.
And hopefully he's a little bit better than Tavon Austin.
I think he will be. Rapless, he says, hello, just popped in. I can voice my concerns about the O-line in a make-or-break year for Jones, but let's laugh how Joe Schobert, I didn't know he got traded. I think you told me it actually in my comments in my video today, Rapless. But yeah, that was a guy, and he signed a big contract. I think it was with the Jaguars, if I'm not mistaken, a year ago. And he was one of the linebackers that a lot of Giants fans wanted. Martinez obviously worked out for us, but he got traded. Yep. I don't even know where he got traded. Fulton did not give me. None of our offensive linemen gave me confidence, but I thought Fulton could at least provide as a valuable depth guy. But yeah, Fulton didn't give me a lot of confidence.
Yeah.
Joe says, so I guess you're a Yankee. Well, yeah, he's a Yankee fan. I guess you're a Yankee. Oh, he's talking to somebody else in the chat. He's not talking to you. But let's see. AP says it was just a fan fest, but that play from yesterday where the O-line missed the blitz, Jones threw. That to me, that's what stood out more to me than Jones's throw, AP. And the throw was bad. Obviously, it was really bad. But Hernandez completely whiffed on the block on that play. Nobody even talked about that. That's the first thing I saw. I'm like, what the hell was Will Hernandez doing? But yeah, that really stood out to me. Was Will Hernandez completely whipping on his assignment. And Graven's got a great channel. Glad to see you popping in, man. What's up, Danny? Glad you enjoyed yourself at the practice the other day. It was nice to see you link. Yeah, the Hub's awesome, man. The Hub's awesome. And yeah, a bunch of YouTubers. Thank you so much for popping in, man. I know I've told you in the past, we got to do something. We'll figure something out this year. We don't play you guys, but we got to figure out something, man. You got a great channel over there. Sox, what's going on, man? Yo, what's up, boys? Much love. Good to see you both. What's going on, Sox, man? Glad to see you, buddy. Yes, Andrew, I do have a fantasy draft on, which is why I'm not going to be able to call the game. They couldn't reschedule for any of the day. I do have a fantasy draft.
That's early. That's early.
Yeah.
Draft, like mine's August 27th. So
it's
fantasy football this year, but August 27th is mine. It's always like the last week of preseason when we do it. Because that way you know who's on the team and shit.
I'm with you. That's usually when we do it. It's a live draft, so it's not over the computer. And the commissioner of the league.
We do a live draft.
Yeah.
There
you go. But the commissioner of the league is going on a 3-week vacation, so that's why that's why we had to do it early.
That must be nice.
Yeah, that must be nice. Is right.
You work for the state because I can do that too.
Yeah, his wife's a teacher and he's taking time off.
So she's off in the summer.
Yeah, she's off in the summer.
All right, because I was gonna say state workers get a lot of time off.
Yeah. No, he's an accountant.
Vacation next week. There you go. Not for 3 weeks, but next week.
There you go. I'm afraid that Jones won't be able to spread the ball. He is just going to throw lobs to Galladay and short passes to Ingram.
Hope not.
I can't answer that until I see him play this year. But, of course, we all fear that the offense isn't going to – I'm going to tell you right now. I'm going to warn you guys right now. And last year, I thought I had pretty realistic expectations with the offense going into the year. I knew the offense was going to struggle the first 8 games going in, and for all the factors. I'm going to tell you right now, I expect, and I hope I have a pleasant surprise, I expect this offense to struggle the first 2 weeks. Pretty badly, to be honest with you. I just don't want them to turn the ball over and lose the football game for us. That's my expectations going against those 2 defenses with all the players that we've had hurt in training camp. The first 2 weeks, I expect this offense to struggle. So those are my expectations going into the year. And then I think it'll get better. I think week 3 against the Falcons, Galladay gets more experience with Jones. And Barkley is at full 100% in terms of his touches. That's where I'm hoping and think this offense is going to start to really progress. First 2 weeks, I've said it countless times in these streams. The defense is going to have to win us those games.
Yeah. And the Falcons defense sucks, so that'll help too.
Yeah, well, yeah, that too, of course, will help too. But that's my expectations going in. I think the offense is going to struggle the first 2 weeks. Last year, I thought it was going to struggle the first 8, so that's better, I guess, in terms of what my expectations are. But I do think you'll start to see this offense open up and improve after week 2, and I think they'll get on a little bit of a groove. That's my expectations going in.
I would love to just get off to like a 7-2 start. Beat the shit out of the teams in our division. Let's beat Dallas's ass. Let's beat Washington and Dallas. You know, let's go out. Let's get out to like 4-1. Beat Washington and Dallas. Absolutely manhandle Philadelphia when we're at the game. Listen, man, I don't want to be wearing that damn Eric Allen jersey on stream. The Giants need to win that. That'd be the worst thing ever for me to be streaming a Giants-Eagles game in a freaking Eagles jersey. But it'd be the best thing ever to watch Philly 500 stream that game in Giants gear. So come on, man. Don't let me down, Giants.
No, we're going to win that game.
Down. I put my faith in you guys.
Tuto says, what do you call an ugly bird without any feathers in a cage at the zoo? Eagles beaten by Giants. There you go, Tuto.
There you go.
I can't wait to meet you. If I go to that Eagles game, which I don't know yet on the link, but if I do, I've made the commitment to Tuto. I've said if that game means something, like if it's a big game, I'll probably go. If
I don't think anytime soon.
If the game means nothing, I ain't going. But we'll see. We'll see, Tuto. Eric, man, thank you very much. I'm worried about the O-line like everyone else, but I really believe our defense will keep us in game. I agree with that. Long enough for the offense to get it together. I agree with that. I don't think it's crazy to think that, especially against the Broncos. Like, I look at the Broncos, bad dog. I feel like they're like the same team as we are. Like they're so similar. They've got a really strong. They're a different type of defense. They've got really good edge rushers. They got a really good secondary, but they got a strong defense. They've got weapons, but they got a major question mark on the offensive line and the quarterback. So. Yeah.
So I'm just looking at the replay here, and Jalen Hurts missed a wide open receiver streaking down the sideline.
Well, that's Jalen Hurts. I mean, you expect that, right?
What a terrible throw. He's garbage. Sorry.
No.
I'm like Tuto. I just like to slap the Eagles around, paintbrush.
But I look at that Broncos team, and I say to myself going into that game, that's the type of game. Now, the defense isn't going to be able to win us every game, but that's the type of game where, yeah, I do think the defense could carry us. And a conservative offense could win us a football game because I think they're a very similar team to us. And we're at home, they're traveling. And I think their offense is going to struggle coming out of the gate much like ours will. Yeah. So I do think we're going to have an opportunity to rely on that defense in that football game. And against Washington, same thing. They're a better team, in my opinion, than Denver, and we're on the road, so it's going to be harder to win that game. But I don't think it's the type of team where you need to air out the football 40 times to win a football game against the Washington football team. I think it's a game where you try to create mistakes on their offense and you try to limit your own. That's what I think they're going to do the first 2 games. But
like I said, I'm talking, with that before that. By the way, I saw a dire Giants fan said that won't only be painful for you, Bad Dog. Yeah, nobody wants to have to see me wearing that booger green ass jersey in that stream. Nobody wants that. Eagle fans are going to kick out of it. I know that, but. Yeah, I think the Giants, they just got to be smart with the ball, no turnovers, rely on your defense. Maybe your defense gets a turnover deep in Denver territory, and you're able to capitalize. Or special teams may be a big part of what the Giants are able to do in that game. Just they got to limit mistakes, and they got to create some turnovers and just find a way to win a game. I mean, this is what this team needs more than anything else. They got on a little bit of a run there. They were winning some games. They got right back into the thick of the division. I know the division was bad, but because it was bad, they moved themselves from 1-7 right into division contention. And you saw them getting better, and you just hope. And then, of course, when Daniel Jones got hurt and wasn't healthy, they kind of regressed a little bit. But you want to see these guys get off to a good start. You want to see them build some confidence. They got to win these games. And that goes a long way in that locker room, is winning games. The Giants have won one opening game since 2009. They've won one game, one opening game in the last 12 years.
2016.
Against Dallas. And everyone's like, if Terrence Williams runs out of bounds, we win. No, you probably don't. But still, it did take 20 to 19 games. It's not like you blew them out. But once.
We got to win.
Start off 1-0. We've never started off 1-0 since we've been doing the show, Chris. We got
to win that first game. Got to win that first game.
Got to win.
And Simple said, guys, I saw a Twitter post that DJ is the Ben Simmons. That's It's very hard for me to compare a quarterback to a basketball player.
I don't worry too much about Twitter.
I just saw him type that a bunch of times, so I wanted to pull it up. He says,
I don't worry too much about the Twitter sphere, though. I mean,
yeah,
type anything.
Yeah, and he says, what do you all think? It's like I said, it's very hard for me to compare those two. And the guy in the last stream was a knucklehead. I don't know who he's talking. Oh, you're talking about my stream last time. Yeah, the guy come in and we couldn't block him. He's saying a lot of racist stuff. Simple. When Bad Dog's live, you can't. If he's not live, you can't donate to him at the same time. So when you can't do it to both of us at the same time. Let's see what we got. Let's look at the chat. Sid says, if Saquon has another freak injury, what do we do with him? Can we even trade him? Okay. Yeah, and obviously that's another major question mark. And we haven't talked about Saquon at all in this stream, but worst case scenario, if Saquon gets hurt this year again, re-aggravates the injury, whatever. My quick answer to you is he's gonna be with the Giants in 2021 because, like you said, we're not gonna be able to trade the guy, and you're gonna have him under an affordable salary on the rookie option. It's $7 million. So my guess would be to you, maximum, if Barkley has another injury this year, the longest I see him being with the Giants is 3 more years. That's the 5th-year option. That's the franchise tag and a potential second franchise tag. Because if he bowls out in his 5th year, maybe they tag him. But they are not going to give him a long-term commitment if he gets hurt again this year. That's what if it's an ankle sprain. I'm talking about a real injury. They are not going to give him a second contract. So that's my answer to you. I think he's definitely a Giant in 2022 rather. For the simple reason, like you said, you're not gonna be able to trade him. He's under contract anyway. And then if he has a really good year, they might tag him. But I don't see him getting a long-term contract extension if he has another serious injury.
Yeah, if he has another season-ending injury, there's no way the Giants are going to put their faith in a long-term deal with him. They did sign him for a 5th-year option because he is $7 million. It made all the sense in the world, and then they'll see what they have. If the 5th year he's not good, then they'll just probably let him walk. They probably won't even tag him. But let's hope that he has a great year. He's not injured. Let's hope he has the type of year he had his rookie season. We can all talk about, say, God Barkley again the way we used to. We compared him to Barry Sanders. I'd like to get back to that. That'd be nice.
Yeah. I was talking to Bobby from Talking Giants, and he was saying during our live stream, he's like, I forgot how good Saquon Barkley is. He's freaking good. It's just that he's been so banged up, and I just hope we get that same Saquon this year. And I think we will. It's just a matter of can he hold up? Can he hold up? And Travis, man, thank you very much. Says, Bad Dog, please tell me why the Yankees can't close a game. Why would Boone put Britton? This team's making me crazy. Travis Conklin.
Travis, I think you know the answer to that. It's because Boone's a clown. And he's a clown show. He has no idea how to manage a bullpen. Loizaga should have been closing. You guys, if you're in my streams, I scream every damn time Britton comes in the game. I can't stand Zach Britton. He can't throw strikes. He has to walk somebody every time. He always has men on base. And he's trash. And Boone continues to stick him in there in high leverage situations, which makes no sense. Loizaga's got filthy stuff. You bring him in to close, and that's it. Boone's an idiot. And that's really it. And ask any Yankee fan. They'll tell you Boone's an idiot.
Yeah. I know you can't stand.
Listen, if they miss the playoffs, he's gone. So there'll be a silver lining to that if they do. And I'll be honest, I think if the Yankees get knocked out in the ALDS, he might be gone. And they won't get out of the ALDS. The Yankees may squeak into the wild card. They may win the wild card game because Boston's falling apart.
And they got a good starting pitcher. You could, one
right,
game.
Garrett Cole with, I don't know. He's been pretty bad since the spider tack thing, so you're concerned about that. But I think they could win a wild card game, but I don't think that they're able to beat Houston. I don't think they're able to beat Tampa. I don't think they're able to beat Chicago. I don't think they're beating any one of those teams in an ALDS. I can't see it happening unless things completely turn around. But that bullpen is not good. And when the Yankees score 8 runs, they should be winning games. They would have won that every other time. They're winning games 2-1, 3-0, 4-2. Tonight they score 8 runs and they can't hold it. So disappointing. That's all I know.
And Eric says, haven't heard much about Aaron Robinson. I haven't heard much about Aaron Robinson either. He had a core injury. He had a core muscle injury though, so he's missed time in camp. I don't expect it's if he came in healthy and he was having a really strong camp, similar to our 6th round pick. If he was doing something like that, then I would have said maybe he could push. I don't expect him to get much playing time, at least to start the year. First 8 weeks, I don't expect him to get. No, we're strong in the secondary. I definitely think he's a part of the future of this team. The Giants didn't trade up because they don't believe in him long term, but I don't expect him to have a big role with this team to start the year. Could develop one as the season progresses, maybe the second half. especially if the Giants fall out of it, which hopefully doesn't happen. But if the Giants are really bad, like they're 3-7, yeah, I think he will play. I think they'll get him on the field to see what they got. But if the Giants are good this year and they're staying healthy, I don't really expect Aaron Robinson to have a major role with this football team.
Right. Yeah, I agree. Depth piece. I mean, usually you're usually not drafting guys in the third round expecting them to start year one. That's not what you're looking to do. They're going to be depth pieces. They're there in case somebody gets injured, and you hope that they do develop into a starter at some point. But obviously, you're not drafting guys in the third. If you're drafting guys in the third and fourth round and you're expecting them to start, you're really in trouble.
Yeah. So, well, that's what we used to do. Corey Ballantyne. Yeah, it was starting, right? But he
was terrible. I mean, that's
of course. Yeah. And Amazing Guy says, Chris, if the Giants win the Super Bowl, do they pay? Yes. If those guys stay healthy and are a big part of it, yes. And if we're going to win the Super Bowl, Dan Jones would have to be a part of it, a big part of it. So yes. And I'll tell you what, that's a good problem to have. That's a good problem to have. That's something, Yeah, exactly. If a quarterback wins the Super Bowl, quarterback gets paid. So yes, yes. Let's see what we got here. Watch you for another 10. Yeah, we're not gonna be live flickers for much more than another. We'll go for another 15 minutes or so. It's a slower stream tonight. There's not a ton to talk about. You go to like 11:55, 12 o'clock. But I appreciate all you guys being here. Thank you guys so much. I'm just trying to talk to the chat, answer some of you guys' questions. DJ, I know. I already know about that. The DJ Saquon and Carter are all out, which I don't expect Saquon to play at all in preseason.
Holiday's going to be out too. He's not going to play.
Yeah. Let's see what we got here. Could Adoree Jackson be a top corner this year?
He's going to be tested, I can tell you that much.
Yes, he is, with Brad Bear on the other side.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know what constitutes as a top corner. Are you saying top 5? No, I'm not going to set the bar as a top 5. Could he be a top 5 second corner? Yes. Could he be a top 15 or 20 corner? Yes. Yeah, I think he'd be a very good starting corner. I do think that's very possible. Do I think he's a top 5 corner? No. Bradbury's our number 1. He's going to be our number 2. And I think we could have one of the best tandems in the NFL at the corner position. So,
yeah, I do too. I think that Adoree Jackson was a really big signing. It shored up that number 2 spot. We didn't want to see Yadam over there anymore. God almighty, was he a train wreck? Reminded me of Trevin Wade. Remember him? J-Ron Hosley. And that's what we had over there. Those guys were nightmares. But Adoree Jackson definitely shores up that spot. And he was a big pickup. So hopefully he lives up to that contract. He stays healthy because he's another guy that's had injury issues the last couple of years. But I think that I think it was a good signing. And I think that just enhances the defense. And I'm telling you guys, the Giants, they don't have a pure edge rusher. But, they didn't have that last year, and they still ended up with right around the top 10 in sacks. And I think you're going to get the same thing this year because of the schemes. And I think you're going to see a lot of coverage sacks with how good that secondary is going to be. So I think you can see Leonard Williams getting in there, Dexter Lawrence getting in there on the coverage sacks. The quarterback might have 4 seconds to throw, but he might not be able to find anybody. And next thing you know, he's getting buried. So I think the strong secondary, it can hide it. I can hide the fact that you don't have a pure edge rusher. And vice versa. Sometimes if you have a great front 4, a great front 7, it can hide the fact you got a bad secondary. So they all feed off one another. I think the defense is going to be really solid. I don't really worry about any part of the defense. I think it's going to be really good.
Yeah, I don't see. I mean, outside of having a top tier edge rusher, I don't see many weaknesses in this defense. I
just want to say, Tyler, I love Anthony Rizzo. It sucks that he got COVID. Was a solid season for the Giants. They have to have a winning record. Even if they don't make the playoffs, they got to be 9-8.
9-8. 9-8. 9-8. I think is 8-9 is like, I won't be like screaming, but it's still disappointing.
Yeah.
9-8 is like satisfactory. Like that's like, all right, they met standards. Anything better, I think they exceed my expectations.
Yeah.
Devon says, thoughts on Julian Love. Yeah, here's what I'm going to say about Julian Love. He's not going to get any snaps to start because you look around. I mean, McKinney's our third safety. We drafted Robinson. You've got Holmes in the slot. We've got Adoree Jackson. You got Bradbury. But he is very valuable to this football team because of his ability to play any position. And it's football. It's inevitable. There are going to be players that get hurt. And he is a very valuable player, in my opinion, on this football team because of his ability We saw him play on the outside against the Cowboys. He could play in the slot. He could play the safety spot. He's a really valuable player to this defense for the simple reason I think he could step in a pinch and at least give you satisfactory play at those positions. So he's not going to play to start the year unless there's injuries, which we hope there's not. But there's going to be injuries this year. It's going to happen.
Every year.
Yeah, and I guarantee you he is going to see the field at some point. And he's a very valuable player to have on your football team.
One word, man. It's a word that Judge and Graham and all those guys love: versatility. That's what brings to the team. So, yeah, I mean, he's going to be a big part of the team. He'll be in there in situations, like Chris said. There's inevitably not every guy in our secondary is going to play all 16 games. You hope if they miss a game, it's with like a minor injury. Maybe they miss a week, maybe they miss 2, but you don't want them out the whole season. But Julian Love is a big part of what that secondary does, and I think that he'll contribute too. I love the secondary. I see somebody kept asking, why do we draft so many cornerbacks? That is the new school of football drafting.
Yeah.
Very, very wide depth in your secondary. And that's why they continue to draft a lot of cornerbacks, because that's new school football. A lot of teams draft a lot. Look at Dallas. I mean, how many secondary guys did they take? So –
but you look at the best defenses that run a similar defense to us. The Bills, their secondary play is top notch. The Patriots, their secondary play top notch. The Ravens, right? So that, like you said, that's the new school. That the Giants run a defense that they are going to try to create pressure through coverage and through blitzing, through deception. So that's why they've focused on corner play as much as they possibly can. And Patricia Train, I've said this in the past. She brought up a really good point. I forgot whose stream it was on. She was on somebody's stream. And I was listening to it. I'm like, wow, that's a really good point. Aaron Robinson, and he's got to put on some weight to do this. And she said that. He's probably got to add 10, 15 pounds of muscle. He may be Pepper's replacement. Because when you watch Aaron Robinson play, he's a very physical player. He's not like a traditional slot corner. When you watch his game tape, even though he's built that way, I think he's about 195 pounds. I could see him filling in that kind of role, but the Giants, like we were getting at, they have focused. But that's not just the Giants. That's a lot of teams in the modern day NFL. Is they go strong in terms of coverage and secondary and everything else.
I can tell you, UCF Jaguar. I asked him what he thought. He said he's a very hard worker, and I said then he'll fit right in. I mean, that's what he told me. He says he's a very hard worker. He's gonna try very hard. He's raw, but he's physical and he's a hard worker. So. Again, that's what the Giants try to do. They try to get smarter players in these late drafts with some physical talent. They try to develop them. That's what the coaching staff's going to do. You're not going to be grabbing these ultra talents in the middle of the late rounds. The coach's job is to get the best out of these guys. So we'll see what Aaron Robinson can become.
Rudy Man, thank you very much. Is a realistic yet surprising. Yeah, I think JD kind of asked us that before. He brought up a good one, Yada. I didn't say him. I think that's a semi-real. I think that's very realistic possibility. I think he'll make the team, but I would definitely not be surprised if he got cut. And we've said Zimenez, even though I think he's making the team. I think he'd be a very surprising, especially being that we don't have the most talent there to begin with. But he's kind of a guy that I don't know. The coach staff didn't seem to love last year, and he came in with an injury. So, and obviously he had an injury last year. So I think he'll make the team, but I think he's at least a possible, very surprising cut.
I take that back. Hurts didn't even throw a touchdown. Flacco threw it.
That's right, he did. Now I'm remembering the clip.
I'm just watching it now.
Either way, it doesn't matter. Like,
it don't matter, but I'm saying Hurts couldn't even throw a two-yard screen pass touchdown. Flacco did. So Joe Flacco should be start. Joe Flacco's going to start by week 4. That's my pick.
And I hope so. And JD Sports Dog says, I asked Tana this, but I will tweak it. Okay. What non-division game are you looking most forward to streaming? Okay, non-division game. All right, so we're taking the Eagles game out of it. I'll let Baddog start, and then I'll answer.
Kansas City.
Yeah, I mean, that makes sense.
I want to see what the defense does against Pat Mahomes. I think that is going to test the defense more than anything else. Obviously, Kansas City brings a ton of speed. They revamped their entire offensive line. They won a Super Bowl. They were in the Super Bowl last year. They're probably the best team in the league still. Obviously, Tampa Bay is another one, but I'm looking forward to Kansas City. They don't play them very often. I think the Raiders game is going to be very interesting as well, but I'm really looking forward to the Giants seeing what they can do against Patrick Mahomes and company against Kansas City. That's definitely the game that I'm looking forward to the most.
Yeah, and I think that's what most people would say. Either like you said, Kansas City or Tampa Bay. I'll rattle up a couple of others that I'm really looking forward to.
The Falcons, because we should kick their ass.
Well, yeah. I'm really looking forward to the Chargers game because I've never gotten to see, I've seen clips of Herbert, but I've never gotten to watch him like a complete game for the most part. I'm really looking forward to that game on the West Coast against Herbert. And I'm really looking forward to the first game. I think that, first off, because it's the opening game, but outside of that, I think there's really good storylines in it. I think, and Miami too, I think there's great storylines with the two coaches who coach with one another. But Pat Shurmur, Pat Shurmur going up against his old team, I think that's a really good storyline. And it just being the opening game. I would, outside of the obvious ones, the Bucks, the Chiefs, those are some of the games that I would rattle off for you. But the Chargers, I'm really looking forward to.
Yeah, it'll be good, man. I love Justin Herbert. I mean, I say it every time. First show we ever did 2.5 years ago, almost 3 years ago, whatever the hell it was. It was November 2018, I think. So
yeah,
right around the bye week of 2018. And they didn't lose like the first 2 or 3 games. We thought we solved it. We thought we were good luck. And then they blew the game against the Eagles. But yeah, I said right then I wanted Herbert. I said get Bridgewater's stopgap, draft Herbert. Of course, Herbert didn't come out that year. I love Justin Herbert, so it'll be fun. I think they can stop Justin Herbert.
I think they could do.
It's fun to watch them.
The Rams game too. They're gonna be a tough team. That's another that if there is one.
Yeah, the Rams tough at Stafford. That's gonna be.
But it's a payback game because we had a shot at them last year.
And that's because Jared Goff was a quarterback.
You're right. No, they're tough. That made a big difference. But and you also got the storyline of the fight, right? That was a big thing between Donald and Gates. That got really physical. That's gonna be a really fun game as well. And of the 3 toughest opponents, which those are, this year, in my opinion, that's the Bucks, the Chiefs, and the Rams. I think that's the most winnable for the simple reason they're coming here. So they're traveling across the country. If we're gonna win one of the 3, I would pick the Rams game. But it's gonna be tough. I think all 3 of those teams, if they stay healthy, are at least 12, 13 win teams. So those are going to be really tough games this year for the Giants. But I would say the Rams are the best chance to pick one of them off. And Horny Tana, what's with that beard? Says, what's up? What's going on there, Mr. Horny Tana?
Horny Tana. Oh, I missed the beard. Put that back up. I missed the beard.
Oh, okay. Hold on.
He's got like I got the chat up in front of that.
He's got like a Santa Claus beard.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you very much, man. I appreciate it.
Beard or just like white out?
I think it was white out, but he did it to make it look like a beard.
There you go.
And T, what's going on? We're gonna close this out in like 5 minutes, but I appreciate all you guys for being here. Thank you very much. What's going on? Don't ever apologize for being late, V Christian, man. There's to be honest with you, there's not a whole lot to talk about. So I'm looking forward to next week when we at least have a preseason game to digest and talk about, and I'm sure there'll be more storylines as the season progresses. But I appreciate all you guys for hanging out, talking Giants with us, man. We've had so much fun. LA Brothers, man, what's going on, man? Thanks for popping in. What's going on there, Mark? Jake says, imagine Josh Rosen was good and the Cardinals didn't take Kyler, and he would have fell to us. I don't think we would have taken Kyler Murray. I think somebody else would have taken him before I don't think he would have gotten there.
Who would have taken him? The Raiders? No.
I think the Raiders could have. Somebody could have traded up. We might have traded up to get him, but I don't think we would have got him at 6. I don't think we would have got him at 6.
I wish we got Kyler Murray.
Yeah, I don't think we would have got him at 6.
I'm a Sooner fan.
But maybe we would have because Murray. I don't know if the Giants would have taken him. I really don't, because I feel like the Cardinals felt he fit their scheme perfectly, and that was like the draw for them with Cliff Kingsbury. And I'm not saying they shouldn't have. He was clearly the best quarterback in that draft. I don't know 1,000% if we would have taken him.
The only thing I can say about that is if Josh Rosen was good, the Cardinals ain't picking number 1.
That's true too. Good point. And Sid says, love you, Chris. What's going on there, Neil? Sid says, which is more important for a football team, a top 5 offensive line or a top 5 defensive line? I mean, they're both so important.
Yeah.
Also, top 5 defense or top 5 offense.
Championships, in my opinion.
Yeah, listen, man. I think both are so important in terms of just the lines. We're not talking about the overall defense versus the overall offense. Just the offensive line versus the defensive line. I'm going to go offensive line, and I'm going to explain why. I think you can get by with a defense that doesn't have a great defensive line and still create pressure, like we did last year through coverage, through blitzing. If you have a bad offensive line, you can't do much on offense. So that is why I always think even though I'm with you, I do think defense still is super important. It still wins championships, even though it's become more of an offensive sport. In terms of just one individual unit, I think the offensive line is the most important unit on a football team. It protects your quarterback, and it also helps your defense. It allows you to control the clock by being able to get a good ground attack. So if I got to go with one unit, I'm going with the line.
A good offensive line keeps your defense off the field.
Yeah, exactly.
And it tires out the opposing defense. The Giants won a lot of their Super Bowls, man, was defense and being able to run the football. That's how they won them all, pretty much.
Yeah, I mean, and again, I would love to have both. I'd love to have a top 5 of both, but if I could pick one, I'm going with the offensive line.
I see somebody asking if I think Daniel Jones is similar to Dave Brown. No, Dave Brown was terrible.
The only similarity is Duke.
Yeah, I know, but Dave Brown sucked. Like he was
horrible.
Bad. He was bad. Daniel Jones physically is not. Mentally, he's got to work on it. But God, no, Dave Brown never had a prayer. Daniel Jones figures it out. He's going to be good. I still believe that he can be good. This is why I'm so hard on him, because I know, in my opinion, it's there. His talent is there. He just needs to figure it out.
Yeah, and I'm going to tell you, I'm going to be completely honest. I was not sold on Jones's talent in terms of having very good talent. Really until, I mean, the Washington game looked good, but I kept telling myself going into that year, it's bad defenses. The Steelers game, and I really mean it. And again, he had bad moments.
Hiccups.
But I saw in that game, that was the first game where I really said to myself, because that was an elite defense, and they couldn't run the ball to save their lives with that offensive line. And he was doing everything with that offense and being able to drive up and down the field. They just couldn't put points on the board. But that was really the first game for me. Even though it's not his best statistical game, it's not a game-winning drive, but you look at the Bucs, their defense sucked. That was the first game where I saw him going against an elite defense, and he was making plays. And I said to myself, I now see it. I see the talent. I see that this guy could be a very good quarterback in the NFL. I don't know if he will be. He's got to put it all together. But that was the first game where I really said to myself, yeah, I see something here with this kid. Even though
it's there, he just, like I said, he needs to know it's there. And he needs to believe in what he's doing. And I think with a year under this system and better weapons around him, I think you're going to see a much better Daniel Jones. So let's hope so. He means a lot to this team. Your quarterback, and I mentioned this in my stream the other night. I think Daniel Jones, it's not Daniel Jones' fault that he was drafted 6th overall. But this is why so many people are on his case. If he was a second-round pick, he wouldn't get nearly the scrutiny that he gets. It wouldn't be a big deal. It would be a big deal, but it wouldn't be. If he was a second-round pick, there wouldn't be all this pressure on him to perform. He'd be like, well, he was a second-round pick. What do you expect? Instead, when you go top 6, you are expected to change the franchise. When you are drafted that high, you are supposed to come in and make an immediate impact. That's what people expect of you. When you go that high, that's really why you're drafting that high. Those players should come in and immediately make an impact, which is why I remember Mike Francesa got really pissed off that they drafted him. I was just saying, that guy's not going to make an immediate impact. Now, he did because he ended up playing week 3. Francesa thought Eli would play the whole season. So he's like, why are you drafting a guy that's not going to help you this year? Because when you're drafting top 6, that's what you're supposed to do. So I think that's a big reason he gets the scrutiny he does. If he was picked, what did we pick in the second round? I know we took.
Just say he was picked 50. If he was Drew Lock. If he was Drew Lock.
Right.
If he was Drew Lock.
People still probably like, oh, he's terrible, but they wouldn't be as hard on the kid.
Here's what I'll say, though. I agree with you that the pressure wouldn't be as much. But if he was a second-round pick, I think the Giants would have done potentially would have done what the Broncos did. They would have brought in another quarterback. If he had a really bad second year and they felt like we don't know, but the fact that he was the 6th pick, I feel like that gives Jones another year to continue to progress and grow. When you're a second round pick like Locke, the leash becomes a lot shorter. So I think he gets an added opportunity, but I also agree with you that there's added pressure because he was a 6th overall pick.
Yes.
What's going on there, Matthew G? Man, thanks for popping in the stream, man. If he was a second-round pick, we would have drafted. Well, that's possible, big guy. Yes, possible. If they like Justin Fields, we don't know if they did or not, but if they liked him, I agree. It makes it more of a possibility. Sid says, I am still surprised by the Logan Ryan contract. He is old. I really thought McKinney was the replacement. Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to say I was surprised by it. If there was one thing outside of them not addressing the offensive line, but in terms of players they brought in, and I completely am on board with Logan Ryan. I think Logan Ryan is one of the leaders of this football team. I think he's definitely a culture guy. But if you want to just look at the contract, just the contract and the age and the fact we drafted McKinney, that is the one move where I think you could say to yourself, should they have used that money to bring back Zeitler? Should they have used that $10 million to bring back Zeitler, knowing that we have McKinney? No, and I get the Giants' philosophy is we want these young guys to grow. But I'm going to be fair here, Bear Dog, and I love Logan Ryan, and I'm very glad he's here, and he's going to be a captain of this team, and he's a big part of the reason why I feel like a lot of Giants fans have optimism in the culture of this football team, and was a big part of the recruiting of players and brings a winning pedigree to this football team. By the same token, from just a financial standpoint, I understand the criticism with bringing back Logan Ryan on the $3 million. I understand it.
330. Yeah, no, yeah. I said the same thing. I was like, I don't really understand why they spent that money on him because I thought the same thing. I'm thinking they drafted McKinney for that reason. And they went out and got Logan Ryan because McKinney got hurt. So I was surprised that the
other thing I want to add, Bad Dog, before you keep going, because I just thought about it, it also may prevent you from keeping Peppers.
Right. So
because of the money you gave Ryan.
It was definitely interesting. It was an interesting contract. I was surprised they did it. I thought that he was just kind of filling in, but he obviously made a huge impact on the defense. And I think the Giants want to run a lot of 3 safety sets. And I think that's a big reason that they kept him. And maybe they couldn't just get him on a 1-year deal. So they decided to give him 3. Maybe they cut him after the second. Obviously, we'll be in a better cap situation at that point, hopefully. But we'll see. It was interesting. I didn't quite understand it because, like I said, I thought they drafted McKinney for that reason. Yeah.
I think the reason is, I think he's literally the leader of this defense. Like, he's the most outspoken guy. That's the reason why I think they brought him back. And I think him and Joe Judge really respect one another. So I understand why the Giants signed him, but I also understand why some Giants fans question the move. That's what I'll say.
Derby one says he's the one that brought in Adoree Jackson. It's true. He was out recruiting players.
Yeah. So. Yeah. And Benjamin, thank you very much. Tana, come on set. Well, I'm going to try. I'm at some point I'm going to try to pop on Bad Dog Stream. I don't know when I'm going to be able to, but at some point I'm going to try to pop on.
No, I'm there for 24 hours.
Yeah. At some point I'll be able to get in there. I don't know. I can't give a set time where I know, but at some point. And he says, and talk about how you got banned for, oh, God. I'm sure we'll have a fun conversation during the 24-hour stream. Of
course. Especially when Philly comes out. I got to do that.
You need a look. Exactly. That Big Pat. That's why we brought him back. And that's why I understand it. I do understand it. He's one of the leaders.
It's a culture thing.
Yeah, I completely understand it. But I see both sides of it. I'm going to be fair on that. But, guys, we are going to wrap it up. Not a whole lot to talk about tonight. We talked a little bit about the Daniel Jones thing. We talked a little bit about, whatever you guys wanted to talk about. It was basically a Q&A because right now we're kind of waiting for things really start to heat up and for us to really have stuff to talk about. But we're trying to get this show back on the map as preseason's fast approaching. And I can't say again in terms of the Fan Fest thing. I was blown away by the whole event, all the support that you guys showed. It was awesome. It was friggin' awesome. And I can't wait to go to the Eagles game, get to meet a lot more of you guys. Hopefully, obviously, Bad Dog's going to be there as well.
Yeah.
And that's going to be so much fun as well. But and of course, thank you to everybody who tuned in tonight. Thank you guys for all the continued support. Without you guys, we say it all the time, the show is nothing. The channels are nothing. So thank you guys for everything that you do for the Giants YouTube community. And Bad Dog, close it out, man.
Real quick, I've seen Coulter ask this a lot. Real quick, he just said, "How much would I trash the Eagles if Joe Flacco starts week 1?" He won't. But if that ever happened, at any time, Coulter, if Joe Flacco's starting, the Eagles will get an earful. They're going to get that anyway. It doesn't really matter. But if Flacco starts at any point, I'll be expecting a lot of "you were right, Bad Dogs," because people certainly have no problem pointing out when I was wrong. But when I'm right, they just kind of tuck their tail and run away. But I will remind them. But like Chris said, it's good to get this show back. I love this show. It's a 4th episode. And like Chris said, we're just kind of getting into the swing of things, talking a little bit about what could happen, a lot of what ifs, a lot of question marks. And, next week we will have stuff to talk about. The Giants are going to play a preseason game here on Saturday. I will be doing it on my channel. So if you want to come by there, I'm doing a 24-hour stream. I do that twice a year. So this is the week for that. It's August and February. So I'll be live for that. I'll be shaving my head live. DWG is going to shave my head. We had a lot of fun. We always do. But we'll have a lot to talk about. We'll be able to talk about the performances of certain guys that we're looking at, and we'll have football from here on out. So that's a good thing. We'll have a lot more to talk about. And like Chris said, the fact that you guys are showing all the support, we really don't have much to talk about, means the world to us. And the way this show has grown over the past few years, it's unbelievable. And we appreciate it. Without you guys, sharing the streams and telling people about it and hanging out constantly, we wouldn't be where we are today. People wouldn't be coming up to Chris in that live stream going, "Oh my God, it's entertainer!" The ladies wouldn't be dropping their panties for Chris, throwing them at him like he's Sinatra. But we really appreciate you guys. You guys and girls are the best supporters on YouTube. I know we both say it and we mean it from the bottom of our hearts. So thank you. Everything you do for both of us. We really appreciate it.
Baddog, do what you do.
Yeah, I'm sorry. And with that said, from the Entertaining Talking Sports, Baddog Dizzle, we out. Peace.